Hey Chicago, you know we've all been impacted by COVID, especially in our communities. Help protect Chicago. We need everyone to stay safe and get the facts about the COVID-19 vaccine. Visit the What's in It for the Black People Media Facebook page and www.chicago.gov/COVIDVax for the facts.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Where my steppers at? This is retired State Senator Ricky Hendon. This is my new song, Be My Christmas. It's on my House Party CD, produced by house music icons King Farley. It's available on my website, HollywoodHendon.com, various streaming platforms, and CDs. The album also has songs like We Getting Lit and Rona Money. Get the House Party CD in time for Christmas and New Year's Eve. This is our new song, We Getting Lit. Just in time for New Year's Eve. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Go to HollywoodHendon.com and get my music. Let's bring in 2021.
King of house music, Farley Jack, Master Funk, and I endorse Hollywood, Ricky Hendon. Let's go to work.
Nigga, that's the court. You know what I'm saying? You see that they tearing the shit down, though, man. I remember back in the day, everybody used to be out here joking and shit, man. It's your boy, young fella, man. You know what I'm saying? Tearing our shit down, nigga. Though 60638 to the world blow though, you understand?
On this road from a boy to a man with no one to hold my hand. Shit, I'm just praying that I make it home safe. You never know what to expect when living life up in the jacks. One wrong step could be the reason you don't make it home safe. Gang writings on the walls, niggas running from the laws, but through it all, we just really trying to make it home safe. Navigating the obstacles of the streets can be one hell of a feat. Think it's sweet, you might not make it home safe. A bunch of children of the ghetto, unaware of the shit that awaited us all. Staring at the letter CVL spray painted on walls. Was just a tender boy, son of a single mother, expecting a baby girl. Now yet subjected to this crazy world, and at this time I'm thinking life was all Saturday.
That's why we shine wherever we go. 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 Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy, so even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. fuck with me.
Great afternoon to you wonderful people. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of I Say What I Said, live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is where we get together each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. with you guys. We discuss issues that are impacting the black community, how those issues impact us as individuals, and how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of those issues in hopes of finding the optimum solutions for how we can overcome said issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank you all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. We greatly, greatly appreciate you. As always, your input is valued, and we appreciate it. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly ask that you please take a quick second to share the broadcast, share on your personal page, share it even within your personal network. Anyone that you think would add value to or find value in this particular conversation, we welcome them to be a part of the discussion. It is our sincere belief that the more like-minded individuals we can get to be a part of this discussion, the more likely we are to find the optimum solutions going forward. So please, please, please take a quick second to share the broadcast. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb Howard. Esteemed co-host, it's the one and only Tucson 1 and 2. What's happening, good brother?
What's up, family? How you? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm all good, brother. How you feeling?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored. I can't complain. Wouldn't do no good. You know what I mean?
Show won't do us no good. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody even want to hear it. So we won't even burden nobody with no issues, man. It's all good. It's a blessing to be back here with y'all. Hope y'all feeling good on this here Taco Tuesday, man. Hope y'all are doing well. I just had a chance to talk to Brother Sadiq during the quick little transition, and he asked me how I was doing with the 30-day plant-based vegan challenge. And apparently it's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the group that I don't even know what's going on. So I did like sign up and join the Facebook group for the challenge, but I don't be on Facebook like that. I get on Facebook to do the show. I respond to messages or something if somebody says something to me, but other than that, I'm still kind of just learning how Facebook works. So in terms of joining the group and like figuring that thing out, I don't really know what's happening in there. So he was like, did you do these exercises or these things? And you ain't been reporting on, and you ain't been posting on. I'm like, I don't know. But I definitely want to. I definitely have been participating. I've been eating good. Everything, all of that piece has been going real, real smooth. But I didn't know about the workouts. You been doing that kind of stuff?
I've been doing some workouts on my own, but I ain't know nothing about them in there because I don't follow that many rules. They got too many rules. There's too many damn groups, man. We in too many damn groups already. Yeah. So I just been doing the food,
Shameless plug. Join the Iswis book club. Join the Iswis book club group. Since it's too many groups, join ours. But it's cool, man. I accidentally started a week early. I thought it was supposed to be last week, but I ended up starting like that prior Monday. And so by the time I had talked to you and Sadiq about it, because I was like flexing one day. I had made my little fruit smoothie, and I sent the picture of it to you and Sadiq. And y'all was like, oh, you starting early. It ain't until next week. But I was like, oh, by that time, I was already like 3-4 days in. So I just kind of kept rolling with it. So I had that little bit of a week head start. And then when it actually started up that next week, I was already into it. So it's been going well for me, man. I stepped on the scale and realized that I had accidentally lost 9 pounds because I ain't done shit. Just stopped eating like a savage.
Killing them.
Yeah, no, I don't know, bro. I ain't been doing nothing. Like I ain't even been so much as like walking or nothing like that. I just stopped eating terribly. When I'm eating terribly, it's like terrible. So like 2 days out the week, I might eat like a large double sausage pizza from Italian Fiesta. Another 2 days, I might get 6-7 wings from Harold's. Another day, I might go to Limbs, get a large tip or something like that. And so I just be eating terrible. So you stop eating terrible, and the stuff just kind of shed itself. If I actually add a little bit of activity into it, it might come off even more rapidly. But whatever, I ain't really concerned with that. It was an accident when I even found out.
Yeah, that's young nigga metabolism. It don't just fall off you once you pass 40. You gotta do some extra shit. Even to stop eating, it don't work like that no more. But I remember them days when you go to the gym for a hot week and be good money for the rest of the year. Yeah, that don't happen no more for me.
For sure. It used to be like that for me too, where I could just, do right for a week or so and be right back to wherever I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. Then I realized that wasn't the thing no more. My thing just kept my weight just kept going up. And then last year, it was ridiculous. Like I gained at least like 40 pounds in 2020. Like just from the time I
ruptured my Achilles and couldn't walk, to going through COVID and eating terribly every single day, laying in the bed. Like, it was unbelievable. So by the time I was able to get up and start walking again and putting on clothes and nothing fit, I was like, oh, damn, this shit is crazy. And so when Sadiq was talking about doing the challenge, I'm like, this is the perfect time to go ahead and kick the year off and get myself going. So far, so good, man. What you be eating, though?
Truthfully, man, I just been doing all smoothies, G, and I had a salad at night. You know, that's the problem with this shit. Is like, I don't know how to cook. You know what I mean? I don't know how to cook none of this type of shit, so it's no real diversity.
Right.
Right. But it's all right, though, man. Like I said, after a while, it's a mind change, though. So, just like you know, you said you ruptured your Achilles, but shit, I ain't got no hip no more. So,
right.
You know,
that's
I'm
a
a
whole
hella
different
active
situation.
guy, but all my activities shut down, right? All I could really do was ride the bike. And I still, you know, that's only during the warm months. But I used to hoop, you know, 2-3 times a week. So that shit.
You always hella active. Yeah, no,
yeah. So so you got to change up your diet, change your mindset, because you can't do that. At least I can't do the activity stuff I was doing before. But it's all good though, man. I'm trying to adjust. I'm adjusting pretty good.
Yeah, no, so far so good, man. You get used to that monotony of eating. It be boring, bro. Like, so. I've been doing the smoothies and salads too. Like, that's pretty much all I've been doing. I did go ahead and get some Beyond Meat or whatever the hell you call it, and I made like some tacos and did some nachos or something with that. But it's kind of boring eating the same stuff every day. I be trying to switch up my diet. Like, oh, maybe if I add a banana into it, if I add, you know, this fruit instead of that fruit and that kind of stuff. And if I switch from spinach to kale in my smoothies, like that's the variety of my diet for the past couple weeks. But it's been cool, man. I don't really miss nothing like that. So it's all good so far, so good, man. We'll see how it goes. I figured I was gonna do, because it was Thursday when I stepped on the scale, so I figured I'd do like Thursday check-ins and see how my weight is doing. But again, as you and I have both admitted, this is not about health per se, just about how I look. Like,
vanity, man. Yeah, it's not vanity. You know what I mean? I got a closet full of clothes I got to fit back into. You know what I mean?
All vanity, man. All vanity. They ain't a piece of health concern in this mission. So anyway, man.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're doing good though, cuz.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm glad you're doing good too. I ain't really had no doubt about it. You real convicted when once you make up your mind on something, and then this eating stuff, it's just something I've done before. It ain't really too big of a thing. I started out doing like a meatless Monday. That's how I started. I was like, okay, I'll just go meatless on Mondays. And then after a while of doing that, you kind of looked up and it slowly but surely they kind of flipped to where I would only eat meat on Mondays. And then I kind of fell off of that in the last year or so and I started just eating whatever the hell. And so I didn't think it would be that hard, and it hasn't been. It is what it is, man. Most times I eat like once and a half times a day or something. So it's been smooth, man. It's been smooth. But it's been cool to see everybody else talking about it, but I ain't had a chance to hop in the group and post, and I ain't seen it work out. So I'll see about incorporating some of that into it as well.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. What we getting into today?
Man, a few things we want to hop into on the conversation piece today. Man, well, first of all, let me say what's up. Let me say what's up to our good brother Lil Ron, man. He is in the building today, which since he has gotten his brand new whip is rare. I don't even see Ron around that much no more. Ron will pop in at like 5 o'clock, just hey, what's going on? Like what? Like okay, bro. So it's good to see you, Ron. What's the word, man?
What's up, my brothers, man? It's been a long time. How y'all been?
I'm good, man. How's the car treating you, man? You got 100,000 miles on that joint already?
It's getting me around. I done put like 200 on there.
200,000 miles?
Nah, just like 200.
Yeah, right. You be something. Yeah, well, man, it's good to see you back in here. I wish you were here yesterday. I certainly needed you in the studio yesterday, bro. I needed you. I needed somebody to blame. Yeah.
I wasn't here. You can't blame me.
Yeah, no. Definitely needed somebody to blame on yesterday. We had some technical issues that were going on, and had you been here, I would have laid them squarely on your shoulders because everybody expects you to fuck up. But now that you're here, they'll already know what happened, so I won't even have to say it.
I'm glad you ain't witnessed earlier because we had a big mess up earlier too, and I knew y'all would have been on my ass.
On BOD?
Yep.
You did that?
No.
Yeah, you did that. No, Don called me, and Don called me, and then y'all worked it out. But yeah, I figured you. As soon as I knew you was in the studio with her, I was like, yep, he did it for sure, 100%. But anyway, man, it's good to see you back in the studio. Glad you are here hanging out with us, man.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump into some of the things we want to talk about today. First of all, I want to talk about Joe Biden. His presidency is set to begin tomorrow. And tomorrow is day one for y'all's president. What are we asking for in the first 100 days? What are we trying to get out of this administration in the first 100 days? They always come into it with this big plan. On my first 100 days, I'm going to do this, going to do that, going to do this. What is it that we're asking for? What is it that we're demanding? Are we being offered anything at all? And why is it even important for us to focus on the first 100 days in the first place? That is one of the conversations we're going to have. Tu, what are your basic thoughts on that before we move on to some of the other topics we're going to get into?
Ain't no real basic thoughts, but, when you start looking at this year's election, specifically the inauguration is tomorrow, and not even just the inauguration, but what was it, last week or whatever? We had Warnock and Ossoff in Georgia. Yeah. And just the leveraging of black people and black votes and how important that was to this election cycle. I kept pushing this idea that we should have said, fuck Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, unless they were going to offer us something. Yeah. Right?
Makes sense to me, my brother.
Now that we didn't do that and they're going into office, it's very interesting to me to find out what they're talking about doing in their first 100 days when just last fucking week, if it was not for black voters in Georgia and all this bullshit we was clapping and cheering about with Stacey Abrams, they asses wouldn't be elected one, and they damn sure wouldn't have, the House and the Senate. So to hear what they're talking about in their first 100 days, they pretty much saying, yeah, thanks niggas, and I'll see y'all later.
Period. Fuck we in here now, bro. Like that's not how negotiations work. You don't negotiate on the back end. You don't get to come back later and be like, okay, hey, now that I gave you what you want, this is what I want now. Like, that's not how it works. You set the terms before power is exchanged. We chose not to do that because we were so in a hurry to just get rid of 45. I get it. He scares people. We were such in a hurry to get rid of him that we didn't even give a fuck what we got back on the other end. It's like, nah, we need to be making sure we get something out of this. We did not do that. And so for me, this idea of trying to hold them accountable now on the first 100 days, in the last 100 days, none of that matters no more. I don't think we have any leverage to go and do that. We certainly can't, storm the Capitol to get our way, right? So we don't really have any leverage to be able to go about getting what we want. And so for me, you at their mercy for 4 years. Whatever the fuck they choose to do, that's what we'll get. If they don't choose to do it, we will not get it because the time to demand it and ensure that we got it has come and gone. And all they played on the fact, they gave us a whole year, a whole 18-month campaign of I'm not Donald Trump, vote for me just because of that. We did that. Now just take what you get because the time to ask has come and gone.
What's interesting though is that Biden came out the other day and he said he's already not focused on deficits. He's not going to focus on any deficits. He's going to be focused on community investments.
Sounds great.
Essentially, what that means is that they about to spend a lot of money in the neighborhoods. They about to spend a lot of money in the communities.
Sounds great.
But then the very next conversation right after that is like he plans early legislation to offer legal status to 11 million immigrants without legal status. Now I want you to pay attention to this because I think this was a conversation I was probably having, a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. When we were talking about shit with the city, where they was talking about creating the immigrant ID campaigns, and essentially what they're doing, man, is they're looking to move us out of position, right? Because we are really the only naturalized citizens of America. We're the only people that was not, we didn't immigrate here.
Right.
You understand? There's a clear distinction of how we got here versus every other party got here.
Sure.
So in that vein, our path to citizenship, we are citizens of this country. Hence is why I always talk about we should be reaping the same rewards as every other citizen of this country, right? So because they've leveraged us as a bottom caste and a service class of people, we've not really been able to reap the benefits of American citizenship per se, right? But when they naturalize 11 million illegal immigrants, and that don't be clear with that don't just mean Hispanics, that's the whole demo. Everybody else. Right? They're going to use that as a bottom caste labor force, and they're going to ostracize us in totality. They don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? They really don't give a fuck. So in the same vein of, like I said, that declaration of war that happened at the Capitol the other day, because that's exactly what that is, it offers us an opportunity. One of my favorite lines from I can't remember the name of the HBO series. This is one of my favorite series too. That's a damn shame. With the dragons, the mother of dragons, and all that shit. I can't remember the name of the
Was that
show
Game of
used to come
Thrones?
on all the time. Game of Thrones, right? The little sneaky dude in the Game of Thrones, Littlefinger, used to say, "In chaos lies a ladder," which basically means that there's always opportunity in chaos.
For sure.
And what we're recognizing now is that we really finna catch a break, right? Because we kind of handed over our goddamn vote for no reason, you know, and didn't get nothing out the deal. And already with us being the goddamn centerpiece of the conversation around the election, they are openly saying we have an executive order package for the Hispanic community. And when you look at the data, the Hispanics didn't vote for you motherfuckers. Right. But in this chaos, we're gonna be able to kind of, if we play it right, we will be able to get something out the deal, you know. And that's on us though. Yeah, you know, but the point I'm making is they've already reached out to the Hispanic community. They ain't said we ain't really made no moves towards shit. Matter of fact, when the NAACP came and talked to Biden, he kind of shut their asses down. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I don't want to hear that shit.
That's the two parts to that, right? So I agree with everything you're saying, but there are two important pieces to it that I don't have any confidence in on the back end that's actually going to come through. One being that when we talk about, okay, we aren't going to pay attention to the deficit, which I think is a reasonable thing to do. That deficit is out of hand and no one particular administration is responsible for it. It's just kind of the American way for how we do things. We want instant gratification and we'll figure out how to deal with it on the back end. So leave that alone, that's fine. You say, okay, we're going to invest into communities. That's fine, right? If we are on the same page about what we want communities to look like. But I don't think that what we want our communities to look like is the same as what they want our communities to look like. And so if all they're doing is investing money into making the communities look and function the way they want the communities to look and function, there still is nothing in that for us. That's only something in it for them. That don't have nothing to do with us. We don't get anything out of that particular piece. And then the other thing was, I just forgot what the other thing was. I forgot the second thing you said I wanted to respond to. It'll come to me in a minute.
Well, let me just break some of this down on some of the stuff that he's offering to the Hispanic. Well, I'm saying the Hispanic community, but it really means the immigrant community. Mm-hmm. Even my mind goes straight to the Hispanics because of the way they sell the narrative. But we got to change how we speak about this shit, right? So some of the stuff he's offering is a 8-year path to citizenship. So you'll be eligible for permanent residence after 5 years, and after 3 years, you'll be offered citizenship. Temporary protected status to essential workers. They would be eligible for quicker paths to citizenship. Think about this shit. This is all wrapped up into this COVID bill he's pushing out, right?
Yeah.
Immigrant essential workers would be eligible for quicker paths to citizenship. Now, I want you to think about essential workers nationwide and how they shape that narrative of what a fucking essential worker
who they
is.
are, right? Mm-hmm.
Who they truly are, right? So when you think about the black community in America, right, 98% of us are employed via government agency, i.e. the bus drivers, train drivers, policemen, all the shit that you consider to be essential, right?
Postal
here
workers.
You are creating they're postal workers. Here you are putting temporary protected status on essential workers who are illegal immigrants, but not offering anything to the actual citizens that are essential workers who essentially created the pathway for your ass to become an elected official, specifically the president.
Sure.
Right? He also promised to stop deportation for the first 100 days after taking office. And essentially the conversation that we got to think about here, man, is that I keep saying that voting is an exchange. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, what do we get out this fucking deal? And what they're basically showing us right now is that even though you were the preeminent voting bloc of the Democratic Party, which we always are, mm-hmm. They saying, well, we really ain't got nothing for you. And them not having nothing for us is either based in one or two things, right? Either us a lack of having power or a lack of our ability to organize. And it's both of them are essentially true, right? Because this is part of the conversation we was having yesterday. How I said, those 70 million that came out for Trump was voting on fear, and then those 70 million that came out for the Democratic Party was also voting on fear. Right. That was largely constructed in our fear of what Donald Trump represented via the narrative, right? Mm-hmm. And even though we jumping out say anything but Trump, but what is anything but Trump? And essentially what we're seeing right now is that anything with Trump really means you ain't getting shit. It means nothingness.
Yeah, it
means
doesn't
nothing.
mean anything. It doesn't get you anything, right? Okay, you want to get rid of this one person? Cool. Bring somebody else in? Cool. What are you getting for that? You didn't ask for nothing, so you're not getting anything. I've been saying that for 4 years. I was like, okay, Trump is going to create an opportunity for us to advance in the midst of chaos, right? That chaos is upon us. However, we didn't do our job in terms of organizing in a way that would allow us to be able to step into this moment and then be influential in how this new thing is created. We just wanted something else, right? We didn't really focus on, okay, when that moment comes, right? When that moment comes where we have an opportunity to advance ourselves in the midst of all this chaos that Trump is going to bring, can we then be prepared to step into that space? And we have not shown an ability or a willingness to kind of prepare in that way so we can step into that space. I agree with you that when there's chaos, there's an opportunity. But if we haven't prepared for it, it don't really matter, right? And so we talk about these like animal analogies all the time, and how you can get a pride of 6 lions to create chaos amongst a herd of 1,000 whatever, gazelle or wildebeest or whatever the hell, right? And you get all of them going crazy, and then now in that chaos, there's an opportunity for you to get 1 or 2. But that only works because they've done they've prepared for it. They've done the work beforehand. So everybody's already properly positioned. We know exactly who's going to go in there and chase them and make the chaos ensue. We know who's going to be on the back end, who's going to catch them, who's going to funnel them to a particular place. We never did that kind of work. And so even though the opportunity now presents itself, is it really an opportunity if we aren't prepared to seize it?
It's an opportunity still, right? And I think that's part of the conversation we got to have is how do we get prepared to seize it, right? Mm-hmm. So in that conversation so there was a conversation between the Biden administration and some Hispanic activists, and they reported on Univision, which is Hispanic media, right? Which I thought was interesting too, that this is probably the most aggressive immigration reform that they've ever seen of any party, right? And it's not limited to what's happening right now. So when you think about that shit, and you think about you said, you can't take advantage of it because, we haven't organized or we haven't moved in a way. But I think it's a little bit deeper in the sense of when we start talking about understanding of identity, right? It's difficult for us to go in as a group because we haven't defined ourselves as a group.
Right.
But in this moment, I think this is the very moment that we be as aggressive as we possibly can in asking for whatever the fuck it is that we desire. And when I say that, I mean in the most outrageous way plausible.
Yeah, you throw everything on the table and you let them throw shit back off the table. But you put it all on there.
Right. You throw everything on the table. But we throw everything on. I think we need to not just throw everything on the table. We need to throw everything on the table based in the construct of slavery, though. Based in the construct of what you have stolen from me and what that payout should be about right now. Right. So when we start talking about reparations, it's not just the cash payout.
Sure.
We got to address all of it, right? We got to address the redlining. We got to address, healthcare disparities. We got to address housing disparities. We got to address food insecurity. We got to address every disparity we could possibly.
All of the weapons that you've used against us in this war, we need all that rectified.
Since our inception, and we got to address it from the standpoint of not just right now. We got to address this shit for generations to come, right? You didn't take it from us in one generation, so we're gonna get all of ours back for generations to come until the goddamn wealth gap is minimized, until we get equity, motherfuck some equality. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So in that construct, or in that context rather, I wanted to kind of ask the audience and the people in the comments, like, what are some of the things that you all think we should ask for? And we can ask for them ourselves, right? We got to think about how connected the world is these days. You can get on Twitter and reach directly to your elected officials saying, hey, I'm a constituent of XYZ, whatever, and this is what I am demanding of you as my elected official. Mm-hmm. I'd also employ us to write letters to our elected officials demanding the same things. And I think those kind of campaigns, I know we're a small group in regards to the larger diaspora.
Sure.
Specifically, and I'm speaking specifically for, listeners of I Said What I Said and what's in it for the Black people. But I think you should reach out to your people, your parents, your nephews, your aunts, your nieces, your whole family, your co-workers. Employ all their asses who use social media employ all their asses who know how to send an email, employ all your elders who write real fucking tangible letters to address your elected officials right now about the first 100 days of this Biden administration. We got to look at it like this. Biden's going to be a one-term president, right? The motherfucker's 9,000 years old. He's not going to run again.
Sure.
You understand? But they're going to prep Kamala Harris to be the very next president, right? And we got to demand this shit right now, because if we don't get a response, then it will be it'll be more organized when we go against the next Democratic run, and we can say, this motherfucker was a part of the party and administration that essentially said, fuck our needs and desires when we saved your ass. And then that way, I'm not saying we'll get whatever we want, but at least we'll have a better understanding in attacking this problem in the next election cycle if we don't get some of the things that we demand. Yeah, but I would ask for the most outrageous shit.
Yeah, you walk in there and start the negotiations at a price that you don't expect them to meet, right? And then you expect to come down to a price that you're cool with, but you start way up here. The thing is, it's just a backwards way of negotiating. Like, it's just, we understand this is at least time out. You understand that this is a very transactional occurrence here. When you talk about voting, I'm giving you my vote because I want something in return. This is very transactional in nature, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like we talk about, intimate relationships. We talk about the transactional nature of those things may not be so beneficial. In this case, we understand this is fully transactional, right? And so you enter this transactional engagement, and you only gonna get something based on how much leverage you have. And you have leverage before you vote them in. Once you vote them in, they got 4 years to say, fuck what you talking about. You can send all the letters you want. You can write me. You can call me. You can come up here. You can march down the street. You can make as much noise as you want. For the next 4 years, this is my office, and you can't take me out of it because you put me in it, first of all. And so all I'm saying is, if it's purely transactional, right? Like when we talk about with the relationships, we talk about purely transactional relationships. Okay, you fucking with this dude because he got money. He's fucking with you because you fine, right? But you want his money. He wants your body. If he gets your body first, right? Your point that you getting up out the bed and then say, okay, now cut me a check. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. It ain't gonna work the other way either, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how it works. What you have is leverage in negotiation. You hold on to it until you get what you want from the negotiation. They fully gotten everything they ever wanted from us. They got voted into office to be the president and whatever administration of the United States, right? They don't need shit else. So for what reason would they then just give us what we want? Because they good people? We both know that ain't true about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris in relationship to black people, right? So what incentive do they have to be good to us now that they're already in? That's all I'm saying. I think we missed our window, and I don't really think there's nothing we can do about it for the next 4 years except just sit back and watch these people do whatever the hell they gonna do.
So I disagree with you, right? And I mean it in this sense. I don't disagree with you in totality, right? I think it would have been a much more advantageous strategy to say, hey, man, fuck y'all until y'all show me y'all gonna give me something.
That was the way to go.
I think that was the way to go. But we're here now, right? Sure. And because we're here now, we can't just concede. We can't just throw our hands down and say, well, fuck it, because we still live here, right? I got children growing up in the next room. I still need to create a pathway for them to have a kind of lifestyle worthy of living, right? So the game never stops. That's kind of the reality of the situation in this life, right? It's in perpetuity. You got to keep going forever. You know what I mean? That's how this shit works. It is a game of resource, and it's a race to resource. So that shit never ends. It never stops. So in this moment, though, we missed that opportunity. Hands down, agree with you completely. But we are still here, and there's a new opportunity that has arisen. The opportunity that Donald Trump has created is that he's created a divide very similar to the divide between the North and the South during the Civil War. This 100%. Is the same kind of logical divide, right? Mm-hmm. And in this moment, that chaos creates an opportunity. It creates another ladder, right? But we'll lose that opportunity if we look at the talented 10th or the elite class of us and expect them to kind of lead the way. That pathway is not going to be opened up by them. It has to be opened up by us on the ground. So in the midst of this declaration of war by other white people, specifically the Republican Party, you see the commitment is changing, right? So when you look at the data over history, over time, right? The vast majority of people in this country, the Republican Party is all white, right? By the data, right? It's white with like various sprinkles of other motherfuckers, like minute ass sprinkles of other
100% with you.
Right? The Democratic Party is everybody else and white folks. You understand? With us being the largest voting bloc on the Democratic side. The white folks already fully grasp and understand that this is a conversation that is in perpetuity. I want to win for fucking ever. Right? And although they're having two conversations on the same side of the coin because they're winning, looks like mastering and controlling the resource, it's who's going to master and control the resource, even amongst the white group. You're right? So if they ever want to win again, when we start looking at this last election cycle, we had the largest voter turnout in history, right? So even when we start thinking about the parties as separate things, just because the Republican Party is all white don't mean that all white folks go out and vote. There's only a percentage of them motherfuckers who traditionally vote. For sure. Just like the other party is everybody else. That don't mean it's all of everybody else is going out and vote. It's only a percentage of those people that actually go out and vote. So now the game is afoot because Donald Trump then inspired some shit in a larger populace than ever before to come out and vote. And their populace is voting on a few things. One of them being fuck niggas and Mexicans. That's one. The other being, right? I want to establish my rightful place in the hierarchy of American culture. I'm a white person and I deserve to be treated like a white person.
Right.
That's one side of the coin, right? That's one side of the coin. Then the other side of the coin is I want the same resources you want, but I don't have the same alignment that you have. So I have to leverage the people that are in alignment with me. And those white people on that side of the coin have to leverage everybody else. And in that everybody else, we're the largest and most consistent voting bloc. Hence, you owe me some shit, right? I know. So in this moment, because motherfuckers then went to war with your ass now, it is a new thing. It is a new declaration. It didn't even bypass voting. We so motherfucking mad, we run up in your motherfucking office with zip ties, Molotov cocktails, and bear spray. They legitimately had bear spray, right? They was on that. Yeah. Right. So in this moment, it creates another opportunity. And not only just another opportunity, because every election cycle is an opportunity, but this is a radicalized opportunity. Right. This is some different shit. And it is in our best interest to act accordingly. How do we get the shit that we fucking want? Right. So now is the time that we go in and say, we do exactly what I just said. We write all those fucking letters. We send all those fucking tweets. We respond to all our elected officials like, fuck what you talking about on this Hispanic bullshit. Because even the motherfuckers in Georgia who just got elected, with all them goddamn black people, with all them goddamn black people, they're making declarations that they can't do shit specifically for black people. Motherfucker, if Joe Biden says his first 100 days is going to do some executive order shit for immigrants, you better be willing to do some shit specifically for black people. Period.
Hey, so it's like, first of all, free Larry Boosie, 7-4. But so I agree with you, bro. Like the opportunity came, right? But I think the issue is that we have not accepted or acknowledged the American government as an enemy of ours, right? We just haven't been willing to accept that truth, right? And the fact of the matter is, this government was founded and written based on principles that were anti-us, right? And so it's the system in itself is an enemy of ours. But because we want to be included in it so bad, we want to be accepted by it so bad, then we like, okay, half of it is our enemy, and the other half is for us. And that half happens to be the Democratic Party, and that's the side that is for us. And so we just got to get the ball back to our side. What I'm saying is none of that shit is our side. It's all our enemy. And I think because we don't view it as our enemy, then we don't treat it like our enemy when we got it on the run. We had an opportunity to knock our opponent down, at least, if not out, had an opportunity to knock our opponent down, and we kind of was like, nah, let them get back up. And then what happens when you don't take advantage of that opportunity, when you got them on the run like that, when you don't finish them once you got they legs wobbling, once they get a chance to get back to their corner, they kind of regroup and they come out stronger. They'll come out a little bit more fortified. And so you saw them people running to the Capitol last week, and then this week it's 20,000 armed soldiers in that joint. That's never going to happen again. We're going to fortify this thing to make sure that there's never an opportunity for us to lose our power again. There's never an opportunity for somebody to buckle our knees with a right hook. Like that's not going to happen again. Once you got them on the run like that, you got to go finish them. What we've done now is said, okay, that part of our enemy was bad, but this part of our enemy is good, and so we're going to give them an opportunity. And all they're going to do is fortify their systems around themselves to make sure that they are never this vulnerable again. And so I don't think that there's going to that an opportunity is going to present itself for us to be able to make as much of a difference in one move as we could have made in this past move in November. That moment came and went, and so now we back in, we're still here. And right now, I'm not saying we got to throw in the towel and just accept it. We got to keep fighting because we are still here. We do still have children coming up behind us, right? But in terms of an opportunity to seize control in a real way, right, to really damage our enemy in a real way, that opportunity came and went in November when we all was impressed by Timberlands and stupid shit, right? So at this point, we just kind of ride this thing out. Now, I'm for it. Let's express all of our displeasure. Let's write our letters. Let's email. Let's march. Let's do all of those things. But I'm just looking at this from a realistic standpoint of saying that's how do negotiations work based on your leverage. Well, how much leverage do we have now? In my estimation, zero. We had a hell of a lot of leverage 2 months ago. Now I don't think we have any, and you just kind of ride this thing out and do the best you can. Like I don't really know I don't really know how we go about using those resources. Now, in terms of, I do like posing the question to everybody and saying, okay, what are we asking for in these first 100 days? What is that we're looking for? And I'm seeing a lot of good answers. And ROW said we must ask for all of repay us on all of those weapons of mass destruction. And all of those things are weapons of mass destruction.
But wait, though, cuz before you get to go that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? This shit is war. Period.
Yeah, but we don't recognize it as such. If we recognize them as our enemy in a war, we would have killed their ass when we had them to.
Wait a minute, though, cuz. Wait a minute. It's a war where we are a small fraction in a country that is not our own. Mm-hmm. So strategy is all we got. Strategy is all we have, right?
100%.
So be clear about this. The enemy of my enemy is my friend is a war strategy that's been used since the beginning of time.
100%.
Right? And that's all I'm saying. It's time to leverage strategy to get the things that we need. It's always going to have to be strategic, right? So when we start thinking about those two warring fractions within their own group, they're all warring for power. For one of them to obtain power and to maintain power, they will consistently need us until we are overpopulated by another group that moves and is in concert with them like we are. So while we have that position, we have leverage. Right? We just saw what happened in Georgia, right? That was a black push. Without that black push, that shit does not happen.
Yeah, they flipped the Senate.
So now we're having opposing conversations in this sense. I know what is. I've always known what is. We know what is.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to what has to be? And that's the point I'm saying. How do we get to what has to be? Right? When I was telling people don't go vote for Biden last time, that's exactly what the fuck I was saying. I know what y'all gonna do. I damn near have a problem saying this shit out loud because I know y'all's history. I know the trajectory of what you see. You see a motherfucker that says I'm Alpha Kappa Alpha. I went to a HBCU. They good money. Good money.
Right.
You're gonna run with that because you're looking for black faces instead of black consciousness.
Right.
Right. But that doesn't necessarily serve us. Now, that opportunity has been blown through. But here comes this whole brand new opportunity. And it wasn't even created by us. It was created by some wild ass white people wearing bear claws and tattoos on their fucking chest and spraying police with bear spray. And I'm fucking with it.
Okay, so
right?
I can I could walk you through where our opportunity was 2 months ago and how we could have seized that thing. What is our opportunity now, and how do we go about seizing it?
The same thing I just said. This is the largest populace ever to vote, period. So the game is changing. The game is changing, and our leverage and our value has the same amount of value that it had 2 months ago, right? So when he comes out, absolutely. Absolutely.
There's no way you have more leverage after you give your opponent what they want.
Nobody ran up in the goddamn Capitol building. That shit ain't happened since the 1800s.
Yeah, but all that did was cause them to fortify more, right? That's not creating dissension in the ranks where it matters, bro.
Who fortified more? If they're two war fractions, what fraction there fortified themselves? What fraction
the government. The government. I'm not talking about these pissed off white people. That's not the first threat to us. In my estimation, pissed off white people ain't the first. Huh?
I want to read this to you. Sure. Why that's some bullshit, right? There was 139 arrests. That's 139 arrests, 330 open cases. Riley June Williams of Pennsylvania ran up in Nancy Pelosi's office, stole her computer, and planned to sell that shit to Russian intelligence. Right?
How, Sway?
Listen, G.
Right,
listen.
Come on.
Think about this. Robert Genswin, Colorado, alleged right-wing militia, multiple charges, also assaulting police. Ron Ryan Schaffer of Indiana, heavy metal rock band, accused of spraying police with bear spray. The National Guard that have been called to the goddamn Capitol, to Washington, D.C. this time, they have to go through extensive background checks like never before. You know why? Because vast majority of those 139 cases are motherfuckers who was either retired military and even some active military. The government don't even know who the fuck the government is right now. They don't even know who the fuck the government is right now.
Yeah.
Ain't no fortification in that shit.
Oh,
this is a moment. This is a moment, bro. This is a moment.
Okay.
We can't miss it. We can't miss it.
Oh, I think we already missed it. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like
this is a new moment. This is a whole new moment.
No, this is the culmination of a moment that just passed. Them running in the Capitol did not create a new moment. That was the climactic moment for the opportunity that just passed. That is how that opportunity came to an end. That is not where that opportunity started. It came to an end with niggas running the Capitol. That ain't where it started. That ain't the first thing that's gonna happen. A bunch of crazy motherfuckers running the Capitol. That is how that shit ends. This didn't open the door. This closed the door, slammed that motherfucker shut. They built the gate around it. There ain't nobody else coming in this motherfucker. See you in 4 years. Bro. In the meantime, we're going to spend the next 4 years fortifying us and everything around us to make sure that we are never this vulnerable again. Right? Yeah, they did it to themselves, but that was the only way that it could happen. That is why I said that Donald Trump was uniquely qualified to bring that system crashing down to its knees. A system as strongly fortified as the United States government can only be imploded from the inside. Just like the fucking Twin Towers in New York. Ain't nobody come blow them bitches up. They were imploded from the inside. Only America can fuck America up. We're too strong. We're too fortified. We're too powerful. Our military is too great. You can't just come and fuck us up. We can only do that to ourselves. They did it to themselves when they put Donald Trump's ignorant, arrogant, dumbass in the White House. Once he was there, he was our best, and in my estimation, only opportunity for that thing to come crashing down. Now you put a dude in there who is squarely in the middle of Democrats and Republicans. It don't get no more center aisle than fucking Joe Biden. Barack Obama tried, but even he couldn't get as far right as Joe Biden could get. So he is the perfect dude right in the middle to bring everybody back together over the next 4 years. Let's fortify our own personal interests, make sure we maintain our power. That opportunity to go get it, and I hope I'm wrong, G, and I'm going to do my part to see to it that I'm wrong, but I think the opportunity passed. I think we got to wait another 4 years for an opportunity to represent itself.
No, you're completely wrong.
Okay.
I'm going to just tell you that. You're completely wrong, right? Okay. So, in that, even in the argument you just made, you argued against the shit. You argued against yourself.
No way.
You said America, listen to what you said. Okay. You said America could only implode. It could only implode.
That's it.
Right? The reason why I read off those names, is specific because of one, where they were from and who they are and what they represented. That is the implosion. And that's what I mean. There is no government right now. Motherfucker, we ain't even sure that this nigga's gonna leave office tomorrow. We really ain't sure of that. We really are not. So it's laughable, but it's opportunity, right? And as a strategic warrior, you'd be foolish to let this opportunity pass you by. Because if the motherfucker on the outside of the gate sees the turmoil inside of the gate, it creates an opportunity to break through the goddamn gate.
What I'm saying is the turmoil is over, dog. I'm saying the turmoil lasted for about a year, right?
How the turmoil over her when they got 20,000 goddamn troops, armed troops on the Capitol, and they
that's
don't know
why it's over. That's why it's over. So when you had two warring groups pissed off at each other, then it ain't over, right? You had this 12-month window of all this leading up to the election. That was the window where you knew exactly who was up against who, and it was pretty much split 50-50. You had 70 million motherfuckers on this side, 70 million motherfuckers on the other side, another 150 motherfuckers just kind of watching and seeing what's going on. That was your opportunity to kind of get in the middle of this thing. Once they had their standoff, one of those sides won and one of those sides lost. Those pissed off white people that ran in there, they had their little day of fun, they threw their little tantrum, and they fucking lost. Nothing came from it. If they were still in there holding that motherfucker down, then I would say, okay, they won. They did not win. They had 12 hours of fun. They shit was over as fast as it started with. That opportunity, it's not there anymore.
Let me tell you something, Herb. That shit that happened when they ran up in the Capitol building was not the culmination of the Donald Trump 4-year presidency. You know what that was? It was the culmination of the response to the goddamn Civil War. It ain't over, bro. It ain't never over that fast.
What I'm saying is you have to have somebody on the inside to implode that joint. That was Donald Trump.
Listen to what I'm saying to you, though. They didn't walk through that goddamn Capitol building with Donald Trump flags. That's not what they walked through. That's not the flag that they carried through the goddamn Capitol building. What flag did they carry through the Capitol building, Herb?
They carried the fucking Confederate flag.
That is the culmination, they're still working from the goddamn Civil War. So to assume that this shit is at its crescendo because of Donald Trump, that's a very minute version of the real story here. The narrative for the consistency of life in America has a through line of whiteness being more valuable than everything else. Now, what does that mean? My white life should be established from the moment my ass take my first breath of oxygen. And in this moment, that is being threatened. That ain't about Donald Trump. He was not to give that power to Trump means that he is the creator of racism. He is the creator of capitalism. He's
hell no. You know I don't think that.
He's a pawn on the board.
You know I don't think that. You know
he's
I think
a pawn on the board.
You know I think that he just exposed some shit. I don't think he created none of that shit. What I'm saying is this, though. While you had him in office, you had somebody at the very top of this government who was able to allow this shit to implode. Now you just have somebody who is purely in there to be a manager of the program. That is what Joe Biden is about to do. He's about to refortify the program and manage it in a way that is going to allow it to be its most healthy form. I'm not saying that white people ain't still pissed. Yeah, they've been pissed ever since they lost the Civil War. They've been pissed. I get that piece. But I'm saying they didn't just get pissed 4 years ago. They've been pissed. They ran into the Capitol because Donald Trump made it okay for them to do that. He's gone now. That shit ain't okay no more.
So I'm going to bring you back again, right? And this is exactly what I mean. They didn't lose the Civil War, brother. They didn't lose the Civil War. They conceded. And the reason they conceded is because their wealth was fortified, right? When we start talking about reparations, the goddamn slave owners actually got reparations. And this conversation was not necessarily as much about race as it was about race, but it's about how race affects my capital, right? So those sons of those same sharecroppers and cotton plantation owners and all them motherfuckers, right, are now at a space and place in life where that same economic certainty is being threatened. Right? So when Donald Trump comes up and says, hey, let's make America great again, very similar to Reagan, we can go goddamn down the line. All 45 of the goddamn presidents was talking the same shit to white people. We're going to make this shit okay for your white ass, right? But at the same time now, we have the uber wealthy motherfuckers reaping and seeping all of the money out of the goddamn game. So these same motherfuckers are now back to feeling threatened economically. right? So now it's back to this same emotional uproar that they carried on since the fucking Civil War. I am establishing myself. Trump might have been the motherfucking fire or the incited the new energy,
sure,
but it ain't even new energy. It's old energy. It's old energy that's never went away because the through line is that white life has more value. Now, that's what it is. That's going to be what it is. That's the design of America, right?
100%.
But just like the slaves during the Civil War era said, hey, man, if I take up guns, I can free myself. I don't give a fuck what narrative America sold you on. That's how the slaves saw that shit. If I roll with these motherfuckers over here, I got a chance at a life outside of these chains, right?
Right.
Same opportunity we got today. If I position myself for power, I may be able to reap some benefits here. And it is a moment that we can't let pass us by. It is a moment that we cannot allow to pass us by. Because if we go back and study American history, and we study the economic data of the Civil War era, I guarantee you this shit would align perfectly with 2020. I guarantee you it would.
I'm sure.
Ain't even different. So it's just leveraging ourselves in a positioning ourselves to leverage the opportunity.
I'm in total alignment with what you're saying on that piece, that we're hearkening back to the same situation, right? But what I'm saying is there is a reason that even in the same situation, right, them people ain't ran into the Capitol in all of these years until 2020, 2021, right? There's a reason that it happened now as opposed to any of the years since they've been pissed off about how the Civil War ended.
You're absolutely right.
That reason is and was Donald Trump. He is no longer in power to be that reason. That motherfucker can't even tweet no more.
That's not the reason, though, Herb. That's a minuscule view of the reality.
That's
right?
not.
The reason is, think about this, Herb. Think about this shit, G. If we add on the Obama years to the Trump years, and we add on the disparities in wealth, right? And how much wealth got pushed from the motherfucking middle or to the lower to the top of the. Remember that money chart I showed you, where the top of the chart couldn't even be on the goddamn paper? You remember that chart?
Yes, sir.
All that shit has happened over the last 30 years, right? So it took 30 years for that shit to get to a place where the goddamn middle and the bottom are together, right? It took 30 years for that to happen. The goddamn conversation ain't just about, I don't like niggas. It ain't. It's about, I'm uncomfortable. And I'm uncomfortable because my way of life is being threatened. And it took 30 years for them to sweep up all of that capital in that manner. So granted, Trump his invention, his election is part of that discomfort. That's it. He's not the motherfucking catalyst to the energy. He's not. I didn't live with white folks, G. He ain't the catalyst. They can hate niggas without him. They do.
Bro,
it's easy.
They can hate niggas without him. They can be pissed off at the government without him. But they cannot run in the Capitol without him. That's what I'm saying. And now that they've done that, and we've replaced him with a both sides middle aisle centered motherfucker, you can't, that opportunity to seize that, it's gone, bro. But you make a lot of valid points. Let's take a break right here. When we come back from this break, I'll finish schooling you on why that time has come and gone. Now, if you want to talk about... Huh? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Welcome to class. I'm Professor Howard. You can have a seat right there, Mr. Warner. Have a seat right there. You seem like a troublemaker. I'm gonna put you in the front of the class right off bat. So you sit right there. When we come back, I'll continue this lesson for you. Now,
wait. What? Before you go, I know you think Salim is Jesus Christ reincarnated. Go back and read the comments. Salim is agreeing with me. He's calling you stupid in the comments right now.
I doubt it. All hail King Salim, man. Honor and respect to the king. You, sir, sit down in the front row, man. We got to take a quick break. When we come right back, we'll dig more into this conversation. This is I Said What I Said, Herb in 2 till 6. We'll be right back. WIFTBPM.
Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
Do you believe that God's going to turn it around?
I got to.
Why?
Why? Because he's did it before.
Come on.
And he'll do it again.
Yes.
And you can do it again.
Yes. Come on here.
Come on, I better leave that alone.
Somebody calling you right now.
Somebody calling you right now, Lord. If it ain't one thing, I better go. God's going to turn it around.
And I feel like we have to encourage the people because so many people are just truly depressed. They're going through the holiday blues, and we want you to know that you don't have to be discouraged. But you can, in fact, be encouraged because God's going to turn it around.
Turn it around. It's me again. God's going to turn it around. I'm calling on you. You did it before.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Chip on my shoulder, big as a boulder. From all the years I've been doubted, left out, and simply looked over like niggas ain't see the massive potential. I see murder weapons, wall, you seize a pad and a pencil. I do for self, I learned you worth more when you ask for nothing. Thoughts of killing shit, my brain's a weapon of mass destruction. Nuclear thoughts lead to atomic verses. Me and Max attack with a common purpose. I stole them niggas, you stole out your mama purses. You bitch niggas been disloyal since KB Toys. The streets gave me poise, no Melvins, just a bunch of Rodneys and baby boys. Listen, I'm not the one that you should try your luck with. Get abducted, fucked up, and then left in a rusted bucket, biatch. Sick train of thought, only y'all can conduct it. Just when they thought I was dusted and not a touch, I adjusted, and bounced back like I had Spalding on me. I am God, the clouds open, now the sun's rays is falling on me. To the heavens is calling on me, my shit gon' be elite. Your shit is mystery meat, you say it's beef, but it's all baloney. And fuck these niggas and all they homies, they all is phonies. I'm riding till the wheels fall off this bitch and it's stalling on me. It's alarming these rappers think that we all in the same ballpark. Fuck y'all thought the disrespect is appalling. Standing over the witch's cauldron, concocting murderous plots to help me further my spot. Guess you can say I'm stirring the pot. Heard a lot of niggas think they fucking with the overlord or going overboard. Potent dope that's spoke from vocal cords. The key to success is possessing a gift that can open doors. Therefore the flow is nasty like infected open source. You a knight in rusted armor, equipped with a broken sword. Throwing rocks at a fire-breathing dragon, provoking wars. These is more than rhyming words, my nigga. I'm no thesaurus, I'm too complete for you to compete. My shit deep as the ocean floors. But yet I'm barely scratching the surface. Trust me, it's more to come. So motherfucking hot, I ignore the sun. Imagine if Yvonne Thomas ignored the conscience and chose to abort a son. We never would've got to bear witness to this historic run. It's effortless when I spit these descriptive works of art. I hurt your heart with these harsh realities till it burst apart. It's feeling like I'm about to have a great year. I take the fear and hate here and turn it into Shakespeare, motherfucker. Fuck you mean, bitch.
That's why we shine wherever we go. 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 Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
What is happening, family? Welcome back inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. My name is Herb Howard alongside Toussaint Warner. Each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. we get together right here with you all, and we discuss issues impacting the black community, how they impact us as individuals, and how they impact us as a collective. Today's conversation has gotten off into how this latest election can and will impact us. Is there an opportunity for us to still capitalize on the apparent chaos that is ensuing inside white America? I say that opportunity has come and gone. Once we put Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and that administration into the Oval Office, I think we lost. We missed the opportunity that we had to seize. The opportunity that was there for us to seize. I think we lost our leverage once we put them in office. Toussaint feels that there is still an opportunity that lies before us. He's wrong about that, but we'll let him present his case anyway. To continue with your foolishness.
I'm not wrong about it, man, but I don't think there's no greater case need to be made, right? This is not a new story. This is just, a rehashing of a very old story. And we leverage it just like the black folks of that era leveraged it during that time they spilled this narrative the first time. One of the things that Sling said was that Reconstruction was one of the most prosperous times of black life on America's soil. Reconstruction is a direct response from slaves taking up arms and fighting in the Civil War. It kind of is what it is. So this is our moment again. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying short of taking up arms, because we don't really know how far this shit is going to go, because that wasn't just a tantrum, that was a declaration of war, right? So this isn't the culmination. This isn't the culmination. This is the beginning stages of the shit, right? The fact that we got 20,000 fucking armed soldiers on American soil defending themselves from Americans, that's some shit we've not seen, at least in our lifetime. We've not seen that. So this puts us in the paradigm is shifting, right? So how do we take advantage of the shifting in the paradigm? Now, I don't disagree with you in the sense that black pathology is still black pathology, right? So one of the things about the slave narrative in the Civil War was that a slave understood good goddamn well he was a slave, right? And this black pathology today doesn't fully identify with that. And I'm not arguing that point. But here's the reality, though, right? Them motherfuckers, they ran up in that Capitol building, and even the response to them motherfuckers run up in that Capitol building is about how distinctively different shit is about to be. And I would hope that we would make a decision on our own to operate within alignment. But regardless if we make that decision on our own or not, we're about to be pushed to a position where we're going to have to start making decisions for our group, because we're going to fully identify what it means to be in our group. The shit is going to get way realer than it is.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's the preparation that has to take place prior to the moment coming. You know what I mean? And that's why we weren't in the space to take advantage of the moment when it came, in my opinion. Now, again, we don't have the luxury of throwing in the towel, right? I say all the time, like, you keep fighting because we don't have another option, right? We must continue to fight. And so I'm saying, yeah, we got to continue to fight. But what I'm saying is, at this point, the fight has to start with some strategic level planning, and we're starting from the bottom again, as opposed to being prepared when that opportunity presented itself over the past couple of months. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying, like, yeah, let's be committed to coming up with a plan for how we can still, reposition ourselves to take over and take power where we need to. But I don't think that there will be a more ready-made opportunity for us than there was in the past 2 months. That's all I'm saying. Now, do we need to get back to the drawing table and regroup and come out? Yeah, we got to. But I don't think that opportunity is as readily available for us as it was, say, 2 months ago, when you had 70 million people on this side fighting with 70 million people on this side, and you like, okay, check it out, right? If we gonna make the difference in this thing as black people, and as the largest voting base for the Democratic Party, that 70 million people, y'all wanna win? Okay, and we make the difference? Cool. Here's what we want. Give us this, right? Give us this, give us that. Then we'll make sure y'all win. Other than that, fuck y'all, because it don't make a difference to us who win. Every party, both sides, Republican, Democrat, every administration has been terrible to us. Every one of them. So it don't make me no difference which one of y'all in office. Only thing that matters to me is, what can I get from it? And we had an opportunity to get something from it because they were so desperate to get it.
But listen, if it matters what you can get out the deal, then it does matter who's in office. Because one side is offering you, at least is giving you the idea that there might be a possibility of an offer. And
Which side is that?
The other side is saying, man, motherfuck you.
Which
we don't
side
even
said
need
what?
you.
Which side said which what?
The Republican Party stakes a claim that we don't give a fuck.
And the Democratic Party says what?
At least they lied to us.
I got on Tim's. I can play a saxophone.
Please
I got a
understand what I'm
black-colored
saying.
face.
Well, Herb, please understand what I'm saying, right? I'm not in alignment with the Democrats nor the Republicans. I'm in alignment with black people, right? So I don't give a fuck what side is what side. I'm saying what's available to us and how do we leverage the opportunity to get the things that we need. Now, there's one side that has distinctly made a declaration that, hey, I'm afraid of niggas and Mexicans because they think they're taking our jobs. Now, they misinformed. They're misinformed. And they're being leveraged by the power elite in that class to operate within that mind frame, right? But if they're misinformed and they're operating off that misinformation, that ain't my problem, right? The other side says, hey, man, we love y'all. Come fuck with us. We're going to make speeches about y'all and shit and then push y'all ass out the way.
Yeah, but that's cap, though. We know that's not real.
I'm not arguing that. I don't give a fuck if it's real or not. What I'm saying is my leverage is real. And how I leverage it and how I use it is on me.
It was real until you gave them what they wanted from you.
What I heard, they haven't got what they wanted. The motherfucker ain't even left office yet. And they got 20,000 troops. They don't have it. It is not secure. It is not secure.
I'm talking about our part in it. They wasn't gonna never call us to say, "Come get this motherfucker out of office."
Our part in it is still leverageable. It's still valuable. It's still valid. Our part in it is why they ass is there now. It is a direct reflection of our part in it.
No. I disagree. They wanted. I do disagree, and I'm not wrong. Like,
you're absolutely wrong.
They wanted something from us. All while they was talking about, yeah, I like black people, and yeah, y'all come over here. That was because they wanted something, sir. We showed up. We gave them what they wanted. They don't fucking need us no more. Like, I'm truly missing it. Like, if you can make me understand what you're saying, like, how did we not lose our leverage the moment we put them in the Oval Office?
The minute motherfucking 20,000 people showed on the front steps and said, we coming in this bitch with guns.
They let them in, first of all.
My point exactly. Who the fuck is they then, Herb? Who is they? Who's the they that let them in?
The fucking United States government let them in.
Who's the government? Who started the government on? If this is the conversation we're having, who started the government on?
It was Donald Trump's government when he let him in the door.
Really?
Yeah, what do you mean, really? Yeah.
That's the Capitol building. That's not the White House, bro.
Nigga, if he's not the president, do you think they running in there? That's my point, G. They have been pissed since the Civil War ended. Why did they choose 2021 to run in there? You gonna tell me that was completely independent of Donald Trump?
Without the people, Herb. Without the people, without the vast majority of people, any destabilization, it's any goddamn team game, right? If you go into the goddamn court and you see 5 players on this side, 5 players on this side, and you can only come to the table with 3 players, you can't play the game. They need us. We have value. It is leverage.
Needed. You're leaving off the ED, bro. They needed us.
No,
what do they need from us now? What does the Democratic Party need from black people right now? Go.
The same shit they needed 2 weeks ago.
If black people 2 months ago, they needed a vote to get into the office. This month, they're in there. What do they need from us now?
This is the last fucking election?
Nigga, I'm talking about in the next this administration. Wait
a minute. If this ain't the last fucking election, or even if this is the last fucking, we know that they need us going forward. We know that, right? Now, what these white folks are saying, God damn it, we're coming in here and we're declaring war because we want it our way. We want our group to have our power, period. Now, if our populace is the populace that got your ass to the White House, what makes you think that you don't need us after the other group declared war on your ass? That's an insane argument to me. That's an insane argument to me. It doesn't even make any sense.
Bro, who the fuck declared war on them, though? You know what I'm saying? And I agree with you. Listen, it is a declaration of war. Relax. It is a declaration of war. I agree with you. But I'm saying, who the fuck are those people, right? You talking about a bunch of pissed off white people with guns. Okay, that's cool, right? Until y'all go against the United States military, bro. What the fuck are they going to do to the United States military for real, for real?
The United States military who ran in the building.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck. They're the same like, bro, it's not the same caliber of people, right? You talking about the United States military, the strongest military in the world, versus a few 100,000 pissed off white people. Be for real, bro.
Versus themselves. Say it with your chest. Versus themselves.
You're tweaking, sir. Like the ones that are in uniform inside the Capitol are there in complete opposition of those in their motherfucking Wrangler jeans and cowboy hats outside the fucking place, right? They're not on the same team. But what I'm saying is the motherfuckers outside with the fucking bandanas and the Confederate flags, they can't fuck with them 19, 20, 24-year-old well-trained assassins in the United States military. It's not a real thing, bro. And so even if it is, my thing is, what does the Democratic Party need from black people for them to win this war against these pissed off white people? What do they need from us to win that?
Same thing they needed from black people since the inception of this country, bro. So let me ask you another question, because this shit is gonna be circular, because you missing the point. That's that CPS education. They fucked you in life. I'm gonna get you some books though. But listen, here's another question I gotta ask.
See,
right?
you give a nigga 1 year around white folks in Iowa. Now you think his education better than mine.
It is. CPS fucked you. I blame Willie Young. Listen, my question still remains the same, right? What do we stand to lose? What do we stand to lose by writing our elected officials with our demands? What do we stand to lose, right? If it doesn't do nothing, it aligns us with the idea set that we have this a valid argument, right? So right now they're pushing these narratives about HBCU students saving America and shit. You got Stacey Abrams, you got Kamala Harris, you got, name them. Go through the fucking ranks of how they praising all these elitist ass black people.
Yeah, look right here at the crib, bro. We touched on this a little bit yesterday. All of black leadership in this whole fucking county is black. The mayor, the county president, the fucking chief of police, the fucking speaker of the house. Like Chicago and Cook County probably the blackest place in America right now, and it still don't mean shit for black people. So
what does it harm us? What does it harm us to galvanize the ranks of black citizens to move forward politically? To empower them by saying, hey, man, you have some leverage by contacting your elected officials. What do we stand to lose?
I'm asking nothing. There's nothing to lose there, too. There's nothing there. There's nothing to lose there.
That is the possibility of gain, right?
No.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. No.
I'm asking you, if we do nothing, what do we gain?
Nothing.
So what you just conceding?
No, bro, listen to me, G. I'm still gonna fight with you, right? Like if you say listen to me, G. If you say like we gonna go down there and fight, and it's 50 niggas down there, I'm going to go with you, bro. But I'm still gonna tell you we finna go down there and get our ass beat. Like you know what I'm saying?
Real quick, man. Real quick. The Bolingbrook Caucus is out here, and think because we yelling at each other that we just joined it. He's calling me a Latino right now. Please understand.
I already saw he said you was a Satan disciple or something, man.
Yeah. No, he's like, listen.
Yeah, we got to keep fighting. I'm not saying concede. I'm not saying to hell with everything that we've been talking about. All I'm simply saying is that we've given away our leverage in this particular opportunity. And for the next 4 years, I don't see how an opportunity presents itself for us to seize control in the same way that we could have seized it 2 months ago. That's all I'm saying, right? I'm not saying throw in the towel. I'm not saying fuck it. We don't have that luxury, right? It's fight or extinction. That's our only choice here. And so we got to fight. But what I'm saying is the opportunity, like we had our opponents buckling 2 months ago. If we could have just been organized and trained enough and kept throwing haymakers, we could have knocked them down at least. Knocked them out, probably not so much, but knocked them down at least. We did not do that, and now they're on their way to getting back on their feet in the form of new leadership that is not going to create the same opportunities that the last leadership created. That's the only thing I'm saying, bro. Nah, we can't stop fighting. It is what it is. We stuck in this motherfucker until we win it. So, yeah, even though I think we're going to lose walking down there, I'll go with you, but the whole way I'm going with you, I'm like, bro, it ain't shit down here for us. I'm going to go because that's just, what other fucking choice do I got? You know what I'm saying? Stay here and wait for him to come fuck me up. No, we might as well go take it to him. So, yeah, let's do all of that. But I'm doing all of that fully aware that I think our leverage came and went on election day in November.
So I completely disagree with you, but just to the point of the original question of creating the awareness of the things that we need to ask for. Again, like I said, I know there was a whole bunch of comments early on, and I missed a gang of them shits. I would love to go back, but I can't even go that far back about some of the things that you would ask for. But I think that we asked for all of those
things. There was a lot of good stuff too.
Yeah, it was a lot of good shit, but you were so hyped up in your wrong ass argument, you wanted to keep talking, and I just couldn't allow you to do that. I was trying to save you.
Listen, man, I try to orchestrate these conversations so that you never find yourself opposed to my line of thinking. I do that because I love you, right? I don't want you to look bad here. So I try to make sure that you're never on the polar opposite end of what I think, so you don't have to look bad. But today we found ourselves in that spot, and I just, you're wrong.
That's funny to me, boy. It's funny to me. But either way, though, man. Either way, like some of the things that I would ask for, reparations is number one on my list, right? First and foremost, I'm always going to ask for reparations. Yeah. But in the context of reparations, I'm going to ask for free college in perpetuity. I'm going to ask for free housing in perpetuity. I'm going to ask for free healthcare in perpetuity. I'm going to ask for at least up to
I'm asking for outlandish shit. I want a white baby tiger.
at least 900 to 1.5 cash, at least in minimum. And that's in perpetuity too. That's for every generation, right?
I want the Bears to get a black quarterback. Like I want a lot of shit. I'm asking for all kind of stupid shit.
Everybody in my house got to get 1.5 million. So that's even the balance. He got her on 1.5. Eric got his on 1.5. Nick got her 1.5. I got one more 1.5. What else do we need? We need I said housing in perpetuity, that relocation fees for anybody who wants to relocate. And they don't have to pay for relocation, right? You got to give them the money after you give them the 1.5.
I want all shipping and handling fees waived. Like I'm asking for a bunch of random shit.
And everything we ask for, it has to be in perpetuity. Like this shit is forever because you took this shit from us since forever.
Yeah.
I mean forever.
For sure.
Right? So, and this ain't even funny. This ain't even part of it. I ain't being funny here. I'm saying reach out to, if your ass is in Chicago, hit Bobby Rush punk ass and say, this is what we demanded. This is what we demanded. All the motherfuckers that you can talk to on Twitter, this is what we demanded. If you old and you only know how to use the mail system, write some letters and say this is what, and I mean be outrageous with the shit. Be outrageous. I think of it as the what's the skit my man did? What's his name? The funny nigga, the comedian nigga with the reparations skit. Dave Chappelle. I would treat it just like the Dave Chappelle skit. I bought this baby, nigga.
I don't know, man. I just we got to ask for everything. Ask for everything: education, economics, housing, everything. I want farmland. We want a bunch of shit, right? All I'm saying is Joe Biden more likely to give us that now that we've already given him the only thing that we had to give him? We don't have anything else he wants from us. That's what I'm asking you. What does he want from us now? For over the next 4 years. Now, if you're saying there's going to be another opportunity 4 years from now, then fine. I'm with you on that. And I say, okay, let's get to work and prepare ourselves for 4 years from now. But right now, in the short term, what does he want from us? The only thing he wanted, he already has. So
let me ask you something, Herb. If he made the announcement for his first 100 days to create a pathway to citizenship for 11 million Hispanic immigrants, and this is specifically for Hispanics. This ain't just all immigrants. This is for Hispanic specific. I'm asking you a question though. If he asked for to naturalize 11 million Hispanic immigrants, why do you think that's top of his mind as an executive order for the first 100 days of his administration?
You need a new class of people who are comfortable in that cast. We have shown our over the past couple of years, we've shown our discomfort with it. So, okay, we got to replace them.
Now, it's not just comfortable in that cast, though, either. It's also saying, hey, man, I'm extending my hand to you. Make sure you extend your hand back to me, right? We want to, it's the pulling them over to the Democratic side, right? Pulling it over to the Democratic side. So now, this naturalization process, I read it to you already. It's an 8-year track to citizenship. How long was the motherfucker the president for, her?
4 years.
4 years. So in 8 years, this shit ain't gonna be accomplished, right? To get to the first portion of this shit, it's an eligible permanent residence after 5 years. So even if you get to the first step, you still passed your election cycle. So what's that mean, Herb? We setting Kamala Harris ass up to be the next elected president. Now that is cute up because the bitch wear Tim's and Chuck. And she ain't that.
Okay.
Now if we change the game on their ass, we can get some shit. Whether it be right now or over the next 4 years. Again, all my ask is in perpetuity. All my ask is, so if you give it to me now or in 4.5 years, because you're gonna have to give it to me sometime in between now to 8 years. We got to have it. You got to run that.
Nah, man. I just think that over the course of
they playing 50, 60 years out.
Mm-hmm. I just think that over the course of the next 4 years, they find their, perfect candidate to maintain their agenda and continue to, play bipartisan politics, and as they refortify their system, right? Listen, I'm all on board, right? And I see, resources coming through for places that we can go and get our voice, get our demands in, and that's great, and I'm for it, right? Count me in on the fight. Wherever we are in the fight, I'm still in it. All I'm saying is we are not in the same place in this fight as we were 2 months ago. Like that's
I know we're in a better position.
Only thing I'm saying.
Motherfuckers weren't running in the Capitol.
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I said we're in a better position because 2 months ago, motherfuckers wasn't running in the Capitol with guns and handcuffs.
And what do they need from us to solve that problem?
Point is, bro, how many times I got to read it to you? There's a reason why his executive orders for the first 100 days are specifically regulated into Latino culture. They need a cast of person that's going to be committed to this party because we already know what white folks commit to. They commit to the Republican Party like we commit to the Democratic Party, right? So the level, the side dishes. How do we leverage the motherfucking side dishes? So I'm gonna make this executive offer to these Mexicans and to these Hispanic, into the Hispanic community. Because if I can leverage them, then I don't really necessarily need to give black people what they are demanding, what they are commanding, and what they are owed. Are we still on?
Better position us?
We still on, Herbert? You seeing me?
Yeah, I see you, bro. It froze for a second. I see you. It seemed like we having a little bit of freeze issues, but it's cool. I see you. We good. How does that better position us? Like if they saying we're doing this thing for Latinos and we're doing this because we don't want to leave ourselves completely beholden to what the blacks are gonna do, how does that better position us?
It better positions us to be captains of our own fate, bro. That's what I mean. I'm not aligning myself with the Democratic Party. I keep reinforcing this issue to you. It's not an alignment to the Democrats or the Republicans. It's an alignment to black people, right? And in this moment, there's leverage. That's it. So in this moment, because there's a reason why his first 100 days are succinctly dedicated to Latinos, because they need that cast. They need another group just like us who they don't owe shit to. I don't owe shit to your ass who just got here in 1985. But I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this immigrant ID. I'm going to give you this naturalized citizenship because you want to get away from Juarez and the goddamn dope cartels who cut motherfuckers' heads off and putting them on sticks. Come here and sell oranges in California. You can do that. Just give me your vote.
Right.
But see, you owe me something. You owe me something.
To replace our vote.
Absolutely. I'm not arguing that. But you ain't got it yet. And until you get it, you need me. And while you fucking need me, every opportunity that I have to leverage my power in that conversation, I'm going to do so. Because the moment you don't need me, you've already shown me how you're going to respond to me. Period. I'm not arguing that with you. I agree with you. But what you're not saying is that until then, we have leverage. We have leverage.
Nah, they were desperate to regain
power. I know you
power.
Just disagreeing with me because you like it. It's sport to you at this point. But Salim is all through the comments agreeing with me, and I know you don't go against Salim.
There's no way Salim is agreeing with nothing you're saying. It's not even making sense. We gave away their leverage. There's no way we're better positioned to negotiate after you give away your leverage. There's no way.
Okay.
They were desperate to regain power from the Republicans, from Donald Trump specifically in November. Whatever happens over the course of the next 4 years, they will not be as desperate to maintain power 4 years from now than they were to regain power 2 months ago. Whoever that the Republicans decide to run up against this incumbent administration, they are not going to be Donald Trump, right? Even the Republicans don't want that shit again. So the desperation isn't there. They were desperate to make sure that America didn't have to go through another 4 years of Donald Trump. And so at that moment, their desperation would have caused them to do whatever was necessary to ensure that they won the election. That was an opportunity right there, bro. All I'm saying is that particular opportunity has come and gone. Now, you want to dig through and find another opportunity? Let's dig through and find it. But right now, I don't see it, and I certainly don't see it in the form of them wanting Latino voters to replace black voters. To me, that sounds counterproductive to what we need.
So even if I accepted your bullshit argument, right? Even if I accepted your bullshit argument.
That's
right?
how Two says I accept your bullshit argument.
Even if just so we're clear, even if I accepted your bullshit argument, right? You said that they were it was imperative that they got rid of Donald Trump, right? It was a necessity that they got rid of Donald Trump. They were desperate
to do it.
Who was the day that you're speaking of?
The Democratic Party.
The Democratic Party. The
Yes.
Democratic Party is desperate to get out any party that's not them, because they always want to have and maintain power. Just like the Republican Party.
Of course.
They always want to have and maintain power, right? So this is why your argument is flawed, right? Now, granted, they leveraged us to vote his ass out of office. They legitimately did that, whether they did it by hook or crook, because I don't trust none of these motherfuckers. They might have stolen some shit from him, right? Because one thing for sure about white people is they are dedicated, right? When they committed to some shit, they committed to some shit. Period.
Tonight,
So
we're getting fucked up.
That's right. So I don't trust neither of these hunkies, right? The motherfuckers hunkies that want Trump to stay and the motherfuckers hunkies that want Trump to leave. I believe they'll all cheat to win, because that's just how they fucking built.
What
they
they
cheat.
know.
It's just what they do, right? Now here's what I'm saying, is that the other side of that aisle, the Republican side of that aisle, is as committed as the Democrats. But they don't need our leverage to maintain power. They've never leveraged our leverage to maintain power. They tell you out flat, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. So the other side has to leverage a level of strategy to even lie to get into power. Now, we could play this game on the short term and say, yeah, they got elected, so they in there for 4 years. But that would be just that, a short-sighted view of the conversation. Because who the fuck is just trying to maintain or have control of power for just 4 fucking years? Just like I said, everything that I wanted out of reparations in perpetuity, you best fucking believe these white folks look at the world in the same way. They want it in perpetuity. Matter of fact, the reason why them goddamn Trumpian white folks, that's my point. The reason why them Trump white folks is mad today is because they've had wealth in perpetuity. And now that shit is being questioned. It's being destabilized. And they running up in the motherfucking Capitol building saying, I will die before I allow you to move like this with my life. Period. I'm not disagreeing that we had leverage doing the beforehand. I ain't never making an argument. I was telling you the same shit, which is why I was saying we shouldn't vote for these fuckboys. But in this moment, a new paradigm is being presented. And in chaos.
All right, I'm done, y'all. The show is over. Salim agreed with me. That's it. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night. God bless and good night. It said well, I didn't even hear, like, the moment I saw that message pop up, I haven't heard anything you said since then. It says, Herb, you're right. God bless and good night, Herb. No, it says, Herb, you're right. We had high leverage during the presidential campaign, but the Democratic political hegemony, which I don't even know what that means, so give me a minute to look that up, requires extreme ADOS participation so our leverage persists. Right? Like,
you understand what Salim is saying here? Huh? Wait. Do you fully understand what Salim is saying here?
Yeah, he's saying that it requires ADOS participation, so we still have some leverage. But some leverage and high leverage ain't the same thing. I said we missed our best opportunity to take advantage of the leverage we had. We can find some new leverage, sure, but our best opportunity was 2 months ago. That's all I'm saying. Thank y'all for coming out. Part of the opportunity.
Hey, did you watch the movie, man? Did you watch the movie?
It's been good, man. It's been real. Y'all have a good night.
Did you watch the movie?
You talking about One Night in Miami?
Yeah.
I watched it.
What'd you think of it?
I already signed off, bro. It's just you on the screen. I left. I argue with you for 90 minutes. King Salim said I won. I'm going home. There's nothing left to do. You talk to the people, man. You hang out, man. You and Boosie and ROW hang out.
No, be clear about this. See, this is what I mean about alignment, Negro. Sign back in. If you leave it, I'm leaving too. We in alignment here. We gonna argue and shit, but we gonna ride together. Period.
Good call. You're right. You know what? Everybody's gone. Now I took everybody off the screen. We out, man. Thank y'all for coming out. Hey, we ride together. We die together. Bad boys for life, goddammit.
Bad boys for life, goddammit.
Listen, man, I definitely watched the movie, man. I want to kind of hold that over to the 5 o'clock hour. And so let me say this. Let me say this, man.
What screen black, Negro?
I told you I signed everybody off. It was over with. We back on now. It's cool. When you look at seriously, like just where we are, I took my bar and went home. Talk about what a brat. When you look at where we are, just in Illinois, right here in Chicago and Cook County specifically, and with all the black leadership, black representation, do you think it means anything for us? And I know you hit on it just a little bit yesterday, but that's a conversation I really want to have. Just like, are we really better positioned as black people in Illinois
by having all these black electeds?
Yeah, by having all of this black representation in positions of high leadership, mayor, president of the board, chief of police, speaker of the house, so on and so forth. Are we better positioned with that shit? Or is that just symbolism?
I think it's a deeper conversation, right? I think that goes to the conversation of identity too. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a difference between black skin and black consciousness. You know what I mean? We'd be lying to ourselves if we wasn't honest and said that we've kind of, specifically those elite classes of us, were in more of an alignment with capital. And when you're in alignment with capital, you usually in alignment with white ideas. It just is what it is because that's where capital lies. I don't know who said this, but it's an old quote. I think they attached it to like Elijah Muhammad or maybe even Malcolm. But they said that the Ivy League was worse to niggas than fifths of nitrate, right? Because it says it corrupts your minds in ways that even alcohol couldn't do. And I think that, again, we got to get to a space and place of black consciousness over black and color, right? Now, how do we get to that space and place? I think conversations like the ones we have in here today or the ones that we've had consistently since we've been on the air starts perspective on what that means. But I remember I used the analogy one time about all of the black, and I ain't gonna say all of the black electeds, but a lot of the black elected officials of Chicago are really not Chicagoans. They're really not. They're not native Chicagoans, you know. That's right. And a lot of them come from a progeny of University of Chicago. That's really where a lot of our black elected officials come from. And when you think about the relationship and the history of University of Chicago, even though it's steeped in the middle of the black community, their relationship with black people ain't necessarily a good one, right? So, you know, you got to assume that those people that have graduated out of them programs, specifically if they're not rooted in the culture of Chicago, they probably got a distorted view of what Chicago black people are like. You know what I mean? Think about just people who live outside of Chicago now. I'm not saying elite or nothing, but there's this idea that you can't even come to Chicago because you go outside, your ass gonna get shot. Now the average Chicagoan has a love affair with Chicago, and the average Chicagoan knows that, you know, getting shot only happens in like 4 places. You know what I mean? Like, not being an asshole, but that's a stereotype that happens with us. Right. So if you get an elected official who comes here from somewhere else, goes to the white ass epicenter of the South Side, which is University of Chicago, lives amongst those people, grows amongst those people, build relationships amongst those people. But what relationship do they really have to our community?
None.
We got to question that. So again, it's not black faith, it's black consciousness, right? So, but here's the deal though, right? And this is part of our own misunderstanding of identity, right? We claim Barack, right? We accepted Barack as one of our own, right? And Barack has all of the pedigree. You know what I'm saying? He's light skinned. That's part of it. We got to be honest about that. That matters.
Sure.
If he was a dark skinned Wesley Snipes kind of guy, he would not have been the president. That's the reality, because our alignment is still with whiteness, right? So he went to Harvard. We honored that shit. We praised that shit. Why do we honor Harvard? What the fuck is Harvard? Because it's a white ass bastion of white. It's the white epicenter of success. So on our own fallacy of understanding, we identified it the same way. We honor it, right? A motherfucker, if two black men were standing next to each other and one said, I went to Harvard, and the other said, you know, I went to UIC, the UIC motherfucker does not matter anymore. You know what I mean? But if we were talking about a relationship to our community and an understanding of this city, in reality, the motherfucker who went to UIC would have a better hold and a better understanding of what was going on here, because he's amongst it. He's a part of it. You know what I mean? So we got to get away from blackness as a color and get in tune with blackness as a consciousness. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not with the just blackface shit, right? But that's why when we get Lori Lightfoot, and we got to be honest about Lori Lightfoot, right? She didn't win a fucking black award in the city of Chicago, right? She just didn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then when she gets elected, we call her Auntie Lori. That wasn't our candidate from the beginning. She ain't our candidate now. You didn't elect her as she's not here to serve you. We got to be honest with that about that shit and stand on it. Right. You know, so no, I'm not gonna never just outright say just because it's a black face somewhere that adds validity to our conversation, because I think that's a fallacy. You know what I mean? But in the same vein of the conversation we were just having about how we need to attack the Kamala Harris and Biden presidency administration, we need to be active. We also need to be active in local politics, right? We need to be raising up generations of young leaders to move themselves into the paradigm of politics too. You know, I got a personal disdain for the little activist boy that ran for mayor.
Jamal Green.
Jamal Green. Now I personally can't stand that little nigga. You know what I mean? And that ain't no secret. I said out loud, he know I don't like him. But in that same vein,
I feel you. I told you I cut him a check for his campaign. I went to his campaign launch / birthday thing, and I cut him a check that day. But I agree with you. I think there's a lot of grandstanding and shit that comes along with that. Right.
And even with that, though, I respect the fact that he jumped out there and tried to run. Right. I don't think he's the guy.
And that was it. That was it for me. It was like a 23, 24-year-old, whatever it was, running for mayor of Chicago. Cool. Let's see what this is about. Let's see if this is something completely different, because you know I'll be for the different shit as it relates to politics.
I respect the fact that he jumped out there and did it, but he's not the guy for it. Intellectually, he's not astute enough to do that. Right. But part of the reason why he's out here, he's like, let me not shit on him too much more, but I feel a certain kind of way about him. But at the same time, we do need to be investing in young brothers like him to move our own city forward, because those are the brothers that are going to represent us in the realest way. Yeah. Right. But I would prefer them to be pure in their intentions. You know what I mean? But that can only happen if we embrace them young enough and push them out there, right? And undergird whatever they're trying to do. There's a lot of little brothers that are out here that are very, very bright. And I don't even just mean little brothers. This older cast is bright too, to just stay away from the shit, because traditionally, if you think about, I'm in the 4th Ward, right? And Sophia King is the alderman in the 4th Ward. You know what I mean? And Sophia King is a motherfucking import. She ain't from Chicago either, right? And there was a push a few years back where there was rumblings where she thought I was going to run against her ass, because people was trying to push me to run for alderman. And that's not really something I was really interested in, you know. But in that, you know, she reached out to me and had a conversation with me about running. She, a roundabout way, had a conversation with me about running against her. And she made a threat to me in that conversation about how I couldn't beat her because of her coffers, how much money she had. So just because I was curious, I went to check her coffers. I wanted to see how much money she had.
What's this insurmountable amount of money you claim to have?
What kind of bread you got? Right? And she did have a lot of money for a motherfucker that was just holding the automatic position, you know? But when you start looking at Sophia King, her husband is Alan King. He's connected to Barack Obama. She's also connected to the University of Chicago. So you would think about the 4th Ward specifically. her connectivity to the University of Chicago, University of Chicago will undergird her campaign. They're going to pay for her campaign. That's why she's going to beat anybody else that runs up against her, except for a native son of the city. Because a native son of the city who's legitimately active out here, people will know his name most likely anyway, or her name most likely anyway. So the marketing budget doesn't have to be the same, right?
Sure.
But her undergirding from the University of Chicago is how, in her mind, stabilized her to win, right? But if she's being undergirded by the University of Chicago, who the fuck you think she's here to serve?
Exactly.
So yeah, black faces ain't enough. I fully agree with that. Black faces ain't enough.
You serve the people who brought you there, right? And so for Mayor Lightfoot, that's the North Shore, right? Like they brought you here, so you served their interests, right? And that's just kind of what it is, and that's gonna be what it is for the rest of them. Now, all things being equal, would I prefer to look up and see 4 or 5 black faces at the top of government in here locally in Chicago and Cook County? Yeah, absolutely. I would prefer to see those people have black faces. But if it's not more than black faces, does it really mean anything to us? Nah, not really,
but
right?
See, but then therein lies the power of an agenda. Because we can put a white face in if they're gonna operate it under the auspices of what we want done.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
All things being equal, I would prefer. But if they ain't bringing us shit, the person could be green for all I give a damn. Who's bringing me something? You know what I'm saying?
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em. But that means we have to have strategy. We have to have strategy, and we have to be engaged in the conversation and in the process. You know what I mean? And we got to be engaged in our own lives. Like, what does it mean to be black? Which is why that ADOS conversation I kept saying is so important to me, right? I know ADOS was built around the concept of reparations. I fully get that, and I respect it for that value. But I've always told you, specifically, Herb, that ain't the greatest value that I've seen that fit. Yeah, the long-term benefit is identity.
Well, I mean, there's immediate dividends for us using it as an identity, even though the fight for reparations continues. The immediate benefit of having an identity is
a full understanding. Yeah, I sent you a video this morning of an African dude was like, I ain't like y'all.
Oh yeah, we play that tomorrow.
He was like, I'm not like y'all. I don't fuck with y'all. And he was saying that shit in the laughing and joking.
Y'all don't act right.
Y'all don't act right. And although he was laughing it off, we know we've had conversations privately with different people from different ethnic black backgrounds from the diaspora. Every one of them, if they're comfortable with you and they honest, they'll tell you that they don't really align themselves with us.
Nah. Everybody from Haiti to Ghana. Like, nah.
All of the ones that I've encountered, I've not encountered one yet that hasn't, said, hey, no, we don't fuck with y'all. Right? So then that means that there's some distinctive stuff that's attached to us. Right? So when we operate, even in that video I sent you, he was like, yeah, Barack was our first president. He wasn't y'all first president. Now, did you hear that shit?
Yeah.
He ain't like y'all. If he was like y'all, he wouldn't have got elected.
Facts.
Right? So
he wasn't wrong, though.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree, but in the same vein, though, for us and us understanding our own identity, right? We need to make those clear distinctions.
Exactly.
Right?
And ADOS does that.
And we're starting, and there's a movement, there's a groundswell that's changing us in our understanding of that identity. Right, we can't deny that shit is happening. Right, they have ADOS as a popularized word at this point. I remember the first time I said that shit, and people didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Yeah, and I think that we have to be like willing to shift to the more right thing whenever it comes up. And so, although you have people who have been fighting towards reparations for a long time, and they've been doing valuable work. You think about organizations like Cobra and others. Shout out to the good brother Cam Howard, who's been doing invaluable work on this thing for a very, very long time. I fuck with Cam heavy, but once the ADOS argument came into it, for me, the Cobra thing was no longer the best way to go.
Cobra no longer had value.
It's no longer the best way to go, right? And so we need to do the best thing with the information that we have now and not be beholden to some other shit just because it came first, right? Once the right answer is presented before you, you take the right answer and you roll with that piece. And so for me, that's ADOS. And that should be the way that we are moving. And when you talk about ADOS, obviously the next thing is reparations, right? And so Nyla asked me, a little while ago, and I did see the question that was like, okay, Herb, what is that we should have been asking for? You saying we missed our point of leverage 2 months ago? What is that we should have been asking for? And it starts with reparations. That's where it's at. We had a year to demand that administration come up with a plan for how they were going to implement and execute reparations over the course of their 4 years in office. You come with that plan, every black motherfucker here will be lining up at the polls to vote for you. That is what we want. Show us your plan in detail. Show us what it looks like. Show us what you're going to do towards that in the first 100 days. Show us for how it goes from conception to reality, how it goes from an idea to an actual payout. Right? What does that look like for us in all the different forms? Well, you talk about cash, you talk about student loans, you talk about housing, whatever it looks like. What does that look like? What's that plan? Lay that out for us, and then we'll come. They would have been all for that, G. They wanted that man out so bad, they would have come up with a plan. For like you've been saying it ever since. For the first time, we heard the term reparations on the stage at a presidential debate during the primary, leading up to the primaries. Like that's not a thing you've heard before. So they were open to discussing whatever they needed to discuss to ensure that they got into the Oval. We ensured them of that based off Timberlands and HBCUs. That was enough for and Trump fear, right? Trump fear, Timberlands, we cool with that. Let's go. And all I'm saying is an opportunity to ensure that we got our reparations demands met and at least discussed, even if they were to fucking lie, because I understand he wasn't the president, right? So I understand he couldn't actually implement those things. So even if they did all this work and came up with this elaborate, detailed plan, and then they got in office and they fucking lied, cool, now we all pissed, right? Now we all pissed, and now I told you yesterday, anger is a hell of a motivator. And so we would have been motivated to move differently had you lied in our face, and then 4 years later, you ain't gave us shit. Now you got to come see us for real. Now we running this motherfucking building now, right? And all I'm saying is that opportunity, in my estimation, came and went. Now we got to regroup and find another opportunity. Not that there isn't one, not that one won't present itself, not that we can't find one or create one, but I think the best opportunity was there for us. So that to answer your question, Nyla, reparations would have been the thing that we should have been demanding a detailed, laid out plan for prior to the election in November.
You know what though? Perspective is amazing. Perspective is an amazing thing, right? So just even to listen to what you were just saying, specifically in regards to like the black community's fear of another term of Trump. Just being in the black community, like that was some shit you could legitimately like tangibly feel. You could feel our fear of this idea of 4 more years of Trump. Matter of fact, even when we was on air and I was talking to about like we need to vote down ballot and not fuck it. If he wins, he wins and all that shit.
Right.
You know, specifically, I had a level of hesitancy in saying that because I just know it wasn't going to rub us right? But there's another perspective too that we are not privy to because we don't live in that world. But when we see the culmination of these white folks running up in this Capitol building, that's their response to a fear of a liberal government. You know what I'm saying? So I would assume that if we was in that community, we would have been able to feel that level of fear too. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it just like, now I think both of those war infractions are operating of ignorance, to be honest. But that's what I'm saying, where chaos becomes a ladder, right? These two fearful motherfuckers is so afraid that they are being coveted by their fears. And when you operate in fear, you legitimately lack. You're responsive. You know what I mean? You're not proactive. You're responsive. So in this moment, that's all I'm saying is that it's our time to be proactive. It's our time to leverage the concept. And I know that's not no easy task, right? But one thing we do all aspire to is capital. That's the real shit about black people. They aspire like a motherfucker. You could be in O Block and telling yourself you're gonna have a Bentley one day.
We aspirational as fuck, fam.
We aspirational as fuck. So get your aspirational ass online and start talking, motherfucker. We can create a list of the entire Senate and the entire House, and we could put that shit out. And wherever the fuck you live, wherever you fucking tuning in from, write that motherfucker. And your aspirational ass should be so audacious with the aspirations that you have. Beg for it all. Ask for it all. Let's just
we get good at the aspirational shit early. Remember, as a shorty, just like you riding in whatever fucking car you riding in, but you look out the window and like, that's my car. That's my car. That's my car. That's my car. That's how we should be with these fucking letters, or how we gonna interact with them. We should be like, yo, that's my crib. That's my law. That's my like that's my initiative. We take it like all of that shit.
That's my free master's degree. That's my free healthcare forever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's my free location fee. Yeah. Run that.
Yes.
Run that right now.
That is how we should play that game. Listen, we got to take a break. When we come back from this break, I see y'all talking about the Iswis book club. We are going to get Miss Shannon Young, RO Double, into this conversation and figure out. I think that on Thursday we're supposed to be having the first conversation for the Iswis book club. We'll firm that up on the other side of this break, and we're going to get into a discussion about the movie One Night in Miami too. I did get a chance to watch it last night. It was a super, super good movie, highly engaging. I didn't know it was going to be a movie, one of those movies that kind of almost the whole movie took place in one setting, right? That was, I think, I always like movies like that. It's kind of cool, right? It kind of forces you to get into the little nuances of each character in a different way. And so I thought the movie was really, really cool to watch. I enjoyed it. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. This is I Said What I Said, Herb 2 for another hour. We'll be right back.
WIFTBPM.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information, or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
Hey yo, Ren, turn that up. You know, same old church. Jump in a whip just to take me a ride. Roll up just to ease my mind. Remember them nights, damn, that lost my life. Ain't been the same since bro them died. Jump in the whip just to take me a ride. Hold up just to ease my mind. Bad bitch and she on the passenger side. Hold up, come and catch this vibe. Jump in the whip just to take me a ride. Roll up just to ease my mind. Remember them nights, damn, that lost my life. Ain't been the same since bro them died. And the whip just to take me a ride. Hold up just to ease my mind. Bad bitch and she on the passenger side. Hold up, come and catch this vibe.
It's what you play in your ride. Stuff a wood with a 3-5. Then you go live. Fuck how they feeling inside. I do this shit for my guys. Free all of mine. Talked to Lil' Bro the other day. He told me he doing fine. But watch how I slide. Cause niggas see you on the grind. And they'll poke you with the iron. I told him I know that. Niggas know that I blow that. Keep a cannon out of Kodak. You oughta know that. I'm getting high with a dope at. Keep a wood at my notepad. Pull up where the smoke at. I wish I could get my bros back. I leave my bitch with a broke back when she wanna know that. But lately I've been in my feelings and I'm just wishing I can go back.
Said I'm tryna ease my mind. Cause I got too much pride from all these things inside. Cause all my people died, yeah. Jumped in a whip just to take me a ride. Just me and my pipe. Then I rolled me a wood just to ease my mind. Took
keep from crying, yeah. Jump in a whip just to take me a ride. Roll up just to ease my mind. Remember them nights, them that lost my life. Ain't been the same since bro and them died. Jump in a whip just to take me a ride. Hold up just to ease my mind. Bad bitch and she on the passenger side. Hold up, come and catch this vibe. Jump in a whip just to take me a ride. Roll up just to ease my mind. Remember them nights, them that lost my life. Ain't been the same since bro and them died. And the whip just to take me a ride. Hold up just to ease my mind. Bad bitch and she on the passenger side. Hold up, come and catch this vibe. Catch this vibe. Come and catch this vibe. Yeah. And the whip just to ease my mind. Ease my mind. Ease my mind.
Look for it, you know, it's all love, you know, righteous. Come on, you set the right example for him. Don't fuck them, fuck niggas. Come on. You know you that nigga on fuck them. That nigga, bro. That shit gonna speak for itself.
Let me test your work. Boss, you the boss, let me test your work. Jeez, you talking breezy, let me test your work. Cam, you the man, let me test your work. Dre and Snoop, like that chronic, I need something stronger. Molly cute, that's like an aspirin. For my daughter, big time, in the club, with a case of Ace. And I sniff that whole table, Scarface, another court case. I'm a frequent offender, when Wyclef was hot, I was gone to November. 6 years, hard time. Bobby was fucking up, Whitney could have been mine. We would have been so high and so in love. When Amy Winehouse died, I could have saved her. I could have smoked like half of that. She wouldn't have had to go in cardiac arrest. Hands up under her dress. Lindsay Lohan her mess, but I still cope above her breast. I must confess, I heard from a little birdie. Bring some crystal meth, you can get that from Fergie. Had a real nice dream, me and Charlie Sheen. Few Playboy bras, I was high in Rob Ford. Brick after brick, like Shaq at the free throw. I stayed hard, I put coke in my pee hole. You bout that life? I'm bout that life. You ain't really bout that life. If you really bout that life, 50, get with me. Let me test your work. T.I., I'm trying to get high. Let me test your work. Birdman, I hear you, man. Let me test your work. Brick Squad, I like it hard. Let me test your work. I want that shit that made Britney shave her head. I want that shit made DMX say he a fan.
Hey, leave it on. Let it rock, bro. Leave it on, man. What's happening, good people? Welcome back. This is I Say What I Said, live from the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Tucson Warner. My name is Herb Howard. Each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m., we get together right here and discuss issues impacting the black community. And ever so often, we love to test your work. This is our jam, man. This is our joint.
That's the best thing that happened out of 2020, dog. Hands down.
You say
Hands
what?
Down. That's the best thing that happened out of 2020. Hands down.
Big facts. Big facts. Let me test your work, man.
I love that record, but I love that record. Dude.
You know what? I feel like the whole Iswis fam feels the same way. I think everybody hates that they love it, but we all love it. All of y'all intellectual asses, all of y'all educated asses, all of y'all successful asses go absolutely crazy when that ignorant ass song comes on. People be like, when is Test Your Work coming? Ron played a little snippet of it, just a little sample getting ready to play. I'm like, hold on, cut it out. We're going to do it like a DJ. We're going to tease the song first, get everybody ready for it, and bring it back. Like, I can't believe y'all like that song so much. Y'all really need to see somebody about that. Y'all, it's a shame. It's not even okay. I'm ashamed.
That's like That's like when No Limit came out when I was in college. He was ignorant to the motherfucker, but everybody couldn't stop turning. They couldn't stop listening to that shit, man.
Make them
You
say,
gotta love
let me test your work,
You
man. It's
gotta-
the great poet, whatever dude's name is. Anyhow, man, appreciate you, Lil Ryan. You can kill it, man. If you just tuned in, this is I Said What I Said, Herman 2, every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. Got the one and only Ron Rilla behind the glass in the production studio doing all of the hard work. What's happening?
Yes, sir.
Man, shout out to the whole team, man. I was checking out BOD earlier today. I did not catch the Ruthie Moore show this morning. I was asleep. I don't know how I slept so late, but it felt amazing. It was like I woke up, my phone literally said like 9 o'clock. I got a text message. It was like 9:01. I was like, damn, I missed the whole Ruthie Moore show. So I called the Book of Dawn, and just shout out to the whole team, man. Tomorrow, All Hail King Salim will be in his regular time slot. That will be at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Y'all make sure y'all tune into Muwak Hill's World. Then he'll be followed up by On the Soil with the Bigs, Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Thomas. So y'all make sure y'all hang out with the fam tomorrow. King Salim is on once a week on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. So make sure y'all are here for Muwak Hill's World tomorrow. Real quick, man, let's figure out this book club situation. Are we having the first discussion on that on Thursday? I don't think Shannon is in the building right now. If she is, I might have missed her. I'm sorry if you are here, Shannon. But I don't think Shannon is here right now. But I know that ROW is here and Boosie is here. And I don't know if Nicole is here or not. Adrian is here. So Thursday, are we having the first discussion on the Iswis Book Club on Thursday?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna leave that up to them.
Shannon is here. Okay, so Shannon is here. She says, yes, we are. Okay, so we will build that into the show. Should we do 5 o'clock hour?
I don't know if that's how the plan was to go, if we was building it into the show or not. But I'm open. I'm open. We can do whatever.
On Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't be knowing, man. Y'all don't tell me nothing, Shannon. Y'all just be. I'm glad y'all doing it though, because it's y'all club from the jump. Okay, we're doing a Zoom meeting for the Iswis Book Club on Thursday. All right, we'll get the details from Shannon. Y'all did y'all homework? Yeah, we did our homework. ROW is ready to roll. What was the homework?
Sound like my son over here, G.
What was the homework? Was it a certain amount we were supposed to read? Were there certain chapters we were responsible for? How do I get the Cliff Notes? No. Let me know what the specific conversation is going to be out, and we'll get the details out tomorrow. So make sure everybody can know what the plan is. Looks like it's going to be a Zoom on Thursday for the first Iswiz Book Club discussion. Shannon says she'll drop the link once she makes it back home. Appreciate you, love. Appreciate you. Shout out to you. Shout out to Robin for being the secretary of the Iswiz Book Club and keeping up with all the books that we want to read. If you have not joined the Iswiz Book Club, you can search it on Facebook. Search Iswiz Book Club, ISWIS, Iswiz Book Club, and you can join the book club. I think they got to allow you to join the book club, but either way, that's where you can find it. And we are reading The Miseducation of the Negro. And so that will be the first book. Anyhow, you told me to watch One Night in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was really, really good. It featured what was based on, it was Malcolm X, Jim Brown. I am drawing a whole blank. Sam Cooke and Muhammad Ali, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so. First of all, I didn't know that all four of them were so tight. Now, obviously, the connections between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, but even in terms of like Jim Brown being so closely tied into that, now Jim Brown being who he is, of course, you knew he was always around the movement in that way. But again, for them to be like that type of like best friend type thing, I didn't know they was rocking like that, and I definitely didn't know that Sam Cooke was a part of the inner circle as well. So that was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, man, it was super dope, man. I think.
And shout out to Regina King. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was like out of context in regard to historical context. Like I don't know if it was necessarily true.
Sure. Yeah, it said it was inspired by true events, not necessarily based on true events.
Right, inspired by. But what I took from it, man, one was that it was very similar to the dynamic of the conversations that we have today. like a where does our sovereignty lie? Like, how do we find that value in our sovereignty? Like, Malcolm had a certain fever pitch in the narrative that he was trying to present, and he kind of demonized Sam Cooke for his approach. But at the same time, Sam Cooke had this kind of capitalist understanding of, I'm employing Black people, I'm empowering myself by owning and operating my own business, and Ali and Jim Brown was kind of on the fringes of their dialogue mostly through the movie. But outside of all that, man, what really was like intriguing to me, or what really struck me, is that in a lot of ways, for me at least, it really captivated Black masculine friendship. You know what I mean? And I think there's a narrative that's being kind of propelled that kind of demonizes us and kind of minimizes the complexity of Black maleness. Even in regards to, like, in context of women, you hear this narrative for women, like, you need to challenge your friends and the respecting women. You need to raise your boys up to feel this kind of way, as if the shit don't happen. And I think what you saw in that dynamic of the dialogue was that they was challenging each other across the board. And it was a challenge out of respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just fuck with that, because in my peer groups, that's how we operate.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't even know any other kind of way. I don't think nobody just kind of passes the buck like, yeah, he doing that shit, but fuck him. And if they are doing it like that, they're not really your friends anyway. You know what I mean? So I thought that was beautiful, the way that kind of aligned.
Yeah, I think it was the sense of urgency that you saw Brother Malcolm operate with in terms of how he interacted specifically with Sam Cooke during, their heated exchanges. And it was even as the moments got more tense and they became more heated, even to the point where at some point Sam Cooke, like, I'm gone, I'm leaving from out of here, right? You could tell that Malcolm was coming from a place of love with this thing, right? It was, I love you so much. It was, I see so much potential in you that I am not willing to sit idly by and watch you waste it on pop records, bro. You got to come with something that means more. You got to use your voice for the advancement of the movement, right? And Sam Cooke was like, man, you know how much money I'm making, fam? Fuck what you talking about, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Malcolm was like, it can't just be about that. And I'm not going to sit here and just allow you to think that is okay, right? Even if we got to fight about it, I'm going to let you know that you are too valuable to the movement to sit on the sideline and play it the way you playing it. You got to get in the game for real. You got to play it in a way that is more beneficial to our collective outcome. And man, the power in some of those moments, the power in some of those exchanges, when he made it abundantly clear of the sense of urgency that was needed, that was required amongst all of them, right? And he was like, man, Jim Brown is fearless in his approach and he uses his voice and his platform. Muhammad Ali is fearless in his approach and he uses his voice and his platform. I'm fearless in my approach, using my voice and platform. Sir, you can't just be making songs, G. Like, you can't just be making songs. It's got to be more than that in this moment. And I think that, it was apparent that, even though Sam Cooke was like on his, like, man, I'm getting to the bag shit, he knew in his soul, like, this motherfucker right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not necessarily using it to the fullest extent of my capabilities. And I think that when you're willing to hold up a mirror to your friends, when you're willing to hold them accountable, when you're willing to say to whom much is given, much is expected, I think only good things can come from that. And so it was really, really powerful to understand the dynamics that were at play as you kind of watch this thing go back and forth and watch how all of them interacted with each other. It was also cool to see some of the vulnerability of these extremely powerful men, right? They're like these mythical characters that you kind of don't even associate fear or vulnerability with. And Regina King, being as talented as she is, was able to add a touch of vulnerability to each of their characters without in any way compromising, denigrating, or emasculating who we know them to be, right? And so I thought that was a brilliant way to kind of add just a little bit of texture into, because you saw moments of fear and discomfort and vulnerability from Muhammad Ali, who is the most brash, confident, presence and figure that we've known, right? But in certain moments, you saw his level of discomfort, his level of fear, whether that was him standing on the stage at the mosque, when he publicly announced, that he was, joining the Nation of Islam, or just in certain conversations when you heard him talking just to his three friends, like, no, I'm scared of this or I'm scared of that. I don't want to give too much of the movie away, but you could just kind of see some of those moments of vulnerability from him, and that was really cool to see. You also saw some of those moments of vulnerability from Malcolm, which was also something that we haven't seen before.
Or when Ali told Malcolm he was gonna whoop his ass because he felt like he was being used. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that was part of it as well. And again, historical context was off because, one, at least in the context of the movie, when they went down to pray, Malcolm taught them how to pray, not in the nation's way, but in the Islamic way, like,
right.
Mecca kind of
like
Islamic
Mecca,
way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I mean? So it was kind of being positioned like Malcolm was trying to get him to join Islam, but not necessarily the nation, and that just wasn't really true. I think in real life, like Malcolm might have walked him through his FOI training and shit like that. You know what I mean? Right. So it's a real different story in the historical context. But outside, I agree with you around the vulnerability part. But I think it was ROW that said something. I can't find the comment right now, but it was something about like individualism can't be afforded in the Black community even back then. And I thought that was a very interesting running theme too.
Especially back then.
Even though all those men had achieved like great heights, what Malcolm was trying to push to them was that at the end of the day, whatever height you achieve really has no value until we as a people have sovereignty, right? And Sam was saying, well, man, I can get to the money and that's going to create this level of sovereignty. But in reality, even him reflecting back and saying, you know what, man, I heard that Bob Dylan song and it bothered the shit out of me because I didn't write it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the reason he hadn't written it is because in his mind, that would not be acceptable to the masses for him to make capital, which essentially insinuates that you really don't have any level of freedom. Right. Even though you're getting all your own money, you're still a slave to our own desires.
Right.
And it was interesting, like, just from my own personal purview, like in context, Change Gonna Come is my all-time most favorite song of all time ever. You know what I mean?
It's impossible to listen to without having like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Like,
man, that shit just moves you emotionally. It just does. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It just does. It legitimately speaks to the spirit. You know what I mean? And I thought it was just powerful to think that. And again, I don't know how much creative license they had, but if that shit was derived out of that kind of conversation, it just even adds more value to that song for me. I thought it was the opening of the movie. I thought was fucking awesome too, though. Right? I thought when Jim Brown drives back to the little plantation town, and the white dude comes out the crib and greets him, is so excited to see him and happy and all that shit. And then the white dude got to go in the house to move some furniture, and Jim Brown was like, "Man, I'll help you." And the white dude comes back like jovially though, like happy and excited. He was like, "Oh no, Jim, no, I don't need your help. We don't let niggas in the house."
Yo, that was the part right there.
That was some strong shit. You know what I mean?
Because
that was some strong shit.
And it's another kudos to the casting and to the acting that was done in that movie, because here you got this old white dude, right? Come out of the big house, right? And even the first thing he said was, "Look who it is up on the porch," right? And you don't think nothing. I didn't think nothing about that particular comment until the last comment. Right? So when he came, when he was like, "Look who it is up on the porch," I'm just saying like, "Oh, look who at the door." But he literally meant up on the porch. Like, niggas ain't supposed to be on the porch. You know what I'm saying? So just the fact that you can come up to the porch says that you are above the level where I allow most niggas to go. And then he shows him all of this love and this, "Man, it's so good to see you, and I got so much respect for you, and as long as I'm around, you is all good." Right? Get him some lemonade, all this shit. And he offers to help you move some shit. And you're like, "Nah, I'm good." He's like, "No, it's no problem. I can help you." He said, Come on, Jimmy. You know niggas aren't allowed in the house. Just like that.
And not even outside of that, right? The man knew his stats better than Jim Brown knew his stats.
Yes.
He invited Jim Brown over, like, because in the opening scene, Jim Brown was like, yeah, my mama said you wanted to see me. So I'm an early riser. So I figured, shit, I'm up. I might as well slide by. So like he requested his presence. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it spoke to our relationship with whiteness in general, right? We're a novelty to them. Like the second movie, I implore everybody to see too when you get a chance. I ain't gonna talk about this one because I don't know if Herb has seen it, but the Spike Lee and Nate, whatever his name is, I can't think of the other actor's name, but the movie is called American Skin.
Yeah.
And it's a very similar running theme through that. And hopefully you'll get a chance to check that one out. We can talk about that one too. But that scene speaks to, like, when you start thinking about Black life today, like what do we aspire to? Like as youth, as young people, vastly, we in majority we aspire to like sports and entertainment. We aspire to tap dance for white folks. Like those are the only outlets for really generating wealth for Black people.
Yeah.
Nate Parker, that's the guy's name. Thanks, y'all. But those are the only real outlets for generating capital for Black people. And you think about the white man's response to Jim Brown being this kind of, mythological sports hero. And, he praised them and, man, you the greatest. And you so fucking nice. And here's your stats. You ran for XYZ amount of yards this year alone.
Yeah.
And, man, I'm so excited to see you down here, man. You're going to do this again next year and this, that, and the third. But at the end of all that, you still a nigga that can't even come in my house.
You still a nigger. Greatest running back I've seen.
They can't come in my house to help me move furniture. G.
Can't help me. You can't even come in here and move my furniture, fam.
Yeah, that's some wild shit, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the reality of the situation. And what was most telling for me, or what was most powerful for me about that, was the sincere shock from Jim Brown. Mm-hmm. And it spoke to this kind of ideology that we have in our heads still to this day, that somehow I can ascend Blackness, right? Somehow I can ascend beyond the way that they view me. And this is Jim Brown. So this ain't no Uncle Tom ass dude. This is Jim Brown who on the front lines about this shit, right? We had Uncle Walter here a couple weeks ago telling us firsthand accounts of Jim Brown being about that action, right? So we know the type of dude we dealing with. But even this dude thought that I can ascend beyond the level of Blackness that I've been accustomed to my whole life. If I can run this ball fast enough and far enough, I can act in enough movies to where now I can go in this white man house. Nigger, no, you can't. Be glad I let you on my fucking porch.
I think that was the nuance of the film, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't think none of them brothers in that room felt that they could ascend Blackness. But that's the kind of confusion that America creates, right? So I think
it was in his face, bro.
Listen, this is what I'm saying, though. Even in that one scene, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at who's on the porch. The whole time Jim Brown is talking to that white man, you could see some level of confusion on his face. Because he can't, in my mind, and I'm just trying to rationalize the scene, right? And just rationalizing the scene, I think Jim Brown is sitting there in amazement that he's even having this fucking conversation.
Yeah, he
declined
the offer of lemonade. The dude offered him lemonade. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Right. All the other behaviors, historically, Jim Brown knows exactly who this motherfucker is.
Right.
Right? Why does white man want to talk to me?
Right.
And as he's sitting there, he's like, damn, this white man is praising me.
Right.
Damn, what the fuck? I'm confused because this isn't the white man you've shown yourself to be that I've known historically.
Exactly.
Right? So so Jim Brown probably already knew traditionally he ain't allowed in the house. You know what I mean? So after all this praise and all this shit, and the guy was like,
how soon we forget though?
I'm just confused in the moment. You know what I mean? But again, I think that's great directing. I think that's great.
It was brilliant.
I think brilliantly written scene. I think it kind of illuminates the issue of Blackness today and the issue of whiteness today. Right? The through line of American history and American life is that whiteness has value, and you just don't. You know what I mean?
That's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
That shock that set into his face was like, yo, I thought we just had a breakthrough. We ain't had shit, fam. We had a conversation. That's it. You are still a nigga. You will never break through this level, right? And when I compare that to some of the things I see from people today, right, from black people today, who really think that somehow if I study hard enough, if I work hard enough, if I do this thing long enough, I can ascend beyond this blackness. That's just not a real fucking thing. It's not a real thing. And that reality set in on Jim Brown, even though he had always known it. How soon he forgot in this 5-minute conversation that you thought you can walk in this dude's house. And he, with a smile on his face, no, Jimmy, you know niggers aren't allowed in the house. Like, that shit was crazy. For real.
So I remember, man, years ago, I had a marketing class in college, and there was a conversation with a professor where he was talking about, what's that? Was it the Red Eye, the little newspaper that they was giving away for free that was like attached to the Tribune?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was called the Red Eye. Mm-hmm. Right? It was like a little half paper some years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It's called the Red Eye. Mm-hmm.
You're right. And he talked about the Red Eye. He said, if the Red Eye has some great information in it, it's a valuable read, right? If you pick it up every day, you get accustomed to picking it up every day, and you value reading.
Right.
He said, but if the Tribune attached a 10-cent charge to that same newspaper, nobody would ever pick it up again, because the value was created in the beginning. This is only worth free.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
So in essence, when you start looking at the trajectory of the American paradigm, where they from its inception, they've never seen value in us. You cannot change, you can't change that going down the line. Historically, that doesn't change. Once you've assigned a value to something, once you've made something a thing,
that's where you
that
at.
is the only value that's gonna have. You know
that's where you at.
And this conversation transcends race. It even goes into the relationship conversations that we have. And that's why I talk about the transactional actions in the relationship. If a dude paid this much for your attention, then that's where your value lies. Your humanity has no value anymore. You are a thing that is worth this amount of money. And it's just a natural inclination of humans operating within this capitalistic society to look at all of those transactions in that way. I don't have to value you beyond this. Now you juxtapose that with the conversations that they was having in that room, right? All four of those guys was at the pinnacle of their careers. Mm-hmm. They had to have some. Malcolm fully was aware of their level of
influence
and magneticism. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's kind of what that's the conversation that Malcolm was having in there. Like, Jim, no, man, fuck them movies, G. You are a god on that football field.
Right.
And if you just stay clear on that football field and keep being a god and bring forth this conversation of blackness, do you know how many motherfuckers are following behind you? Ali, you are a god out here in this boxing ring. If you just stay true to this black experience, do you know how many motherfuckers you could follow through with? You know what I mean? Same thing with even Sam Cooke. Man, you a god out here. And there was another portion in there I thought was really telling. After Malcolm went in on Sam, he also said, out of everybody in this room, your skill set has the most leverage.
Right. Because your skill set transcends in a way that ours doesn't necessarily do.
Doesn't. And
everybody watch the football game. It's fine to see number 32 run through the hole. But after that, I don't give a shit what Jim Brown got to say. But Sam Cooke, based off the very nature of what he does, is different for him.
Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks to the viability of music. And it also made me think about the music of our time. You know what I'm saying? The music of my generation, your generation, and the generation that's coming, the shit that I listen to. And it's similar shit, but not the same, right? Yeah. Rap has been the kind of guidepost of all of our lives, but it's changed within those generational gaps, right? And I look at what I listen to, like how I started getting attached to hip hop music, right? And you younger than me, that's like not no new news, but in its inception, rap music was centered in kind of this black pride kind of construct.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It legitimately was. I mean, I remember when niggas was running around here with Africa medallions on their chest. You know what I mean? Like that was some shit. Niggas was asking you about the 5%.
Yeah.
You had to be able to recite some of them laws, right?
Yeah.
You had to. That shit pushed me to learning about Marcus Garvey. That shit pushed me to learn about the Nation of Islam. This was specifically derived through the music, right? And we can get a generation beyond that, and the shit completely shifts, and it becomes about how much money I got.
What is Fo and a Baby? Like that was an early question I remember asking from hip hop. Like what's Fo and a Baby? And I figured it out, and it was like, oh,
yeah,
cool.
Right. It goes right into this motherfucking capitalistic kind of every man for themselves, get money however by any means necessary kind of concept. Right. And now we look at the transition from there and we look at, let's say, Air's generation, my son's generation. Right. This shit is legitimately theme music to drive-bys. This shit is theme music to drive-bys at this point. It ain't about getting money by any means necessary. It's about clout by killing your brother. Right. And we think about how those narratives kind of permeate and how true that statement that Malcolm said is. Like, I try not to demonize the music because I'm a product of it. But in a lot of ways, G, we got to start putting some different kind of responsibilities on the music, because that shit is the melodies in music is hypnotic. Legitimately, it hypnotizes people's mindsets. And they buy into the theories that's attached to them. Like I argue that shit all the time in opposition to that, but I'm getting to a point in my life, and maybe it's old age, but it's hard to argue against the shit at this point.
No, I feel you, man, and it goes to Chris Rock. He's, I don't know if he's our favorite comedian, but he is certainly the most cited comedian on this show just based off his content.
Absolutely, top 3 for sure.
Yeah. He says, man, it's getting hard to defend rap music. He's like, it used to be easy to defend rap music on an intellectual level with KRS-One and all those guys. Like, it was easy to defend that shit on an intellectual level. He said it's hard to defend Move, Bitch, Get Out the Way on an intellectual level. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, look, man, clearly he got somewhere to go, and this bitch is in his way. Like he was like, you can't really defend it the same way like that. And so I think that does become a part of the question. But again, for me, and I always come to this conclusion, and I too am getting more to a space why I do think there is some responsibility that needs to be placed on music. But even when I think about it, I think of the responsibility placed on music in terms of the consumer and what music am I consuming, right? What music do I choose to put on every time I get in my car? If I want to hear, I like to have like concerts in the morning, so I put on like music in the morning, and it varies depending on my mood. But what mood am I setting for myself at the beginning of that day? Now in the morning, I'm usually not on no turned up shit, so it's usually something kind of cool. But even still, I'm saying the responsibility becomes on me as a consumer of that music to decide, okay, what is it that I'm listening to? Because the question still remains for me, this chicken or the egg kind of thing, is the music setting the tone for the culture, or is the culture setting the tone for the music? And so I don't necessarily know that I can just be like, yo, music is responsible, more so than I can say music is a byproduct of what's actually happening out here. You feel me on that piece or not?
So I do and I don't, right? And I mean it, and it's sort of the same conversation we was having yesterday about balance, right? About the universal balances. Like as above, so below. One of the things we got to understand about capitalism is the way that this shit works is that it creates an industry and then it locks you out of it, right? It controls it from every angle, right? So when we think about music consumption and how it works, when we start thinking about radio specifically, the reason why they call it radio programming, because that's exactly what the fuck it is. It's programming. You know what I mean? So even when we think about the lexicon of music today, yeah, King Von exists, but so does Kendrick Lamar. You know what I mean?
Right.
Lil Durk exists, but so does J. Cole. You know what I mean? But here's the dynamic that's always been interesting to me. J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar in regards to yielding capital, in regards to making actual tangible profits.
Sure.
They make more money than King Von could ever imagine to make.
Sure.
They make more money than Lil Durk could ever imagine to make.
Sure.
And when you start thinking about the airwaves and the frequencies that permeates them, you always hear the King Vons more. You always hear the Lil Durks more. Now, the reason why Kendrick and J. Cole make more money is because their fans are making tangible investments, right? In a different kind of way. When J. Cole says, I'm coming out, everybody who's a fan of J. Cole is fucking with J. Cole.
No promo, no features. I just dropped the album today. Go get it.
They there. Same thing with Kendrick, right? Which is why they don't have to drop music like a Lil Durk. Lil Durk got to drop music every month. He has to stay relevant. J. Cole could take a year off and say, I decided to make a record this day, and everybody's going to flock to it. So when I think about that in context, man, the balance is off on purpose because the shit is actually making the capitalist profit. They're shunning the shit for the shit that really dictates programming. And maybe they're making different capital in different arenas off of this money. That's when you hear the conversations about, high-level rap executives being invested in private penitentiaries and shit like that. So yeah, you might not make me this money in regards to your record sales, but how many niggas you gonna get sent to jail? I'm gonna double up on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's still a balanced kind of thing, but I look at my son, man, and I say, I know that J. Cole is his favorite rapper, but when I come in the house, I hear a lot more, the boy that just got killed from New York, Pop Smoke. I hear a lot more Pop Smoke and a lot more Lil Durk and a lot more Lil Herb. And it's just like after a while, somebody said it in here, frequencies. After a while, you align yourself with that low vibrational frequency.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though inherently you get an alignment to the other guy, and that's your favorite.
Right.
But when you keep pushing this other frequency, you just align yourself with it.
Yeah, it
just becomes normalized.
Yeah, it be mood music for me. Like it just depends on the mood. Like I can't, just the same as I can't necessarily wake up listening to King Von. I also can't turn up listening to Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? So 10 in the morning, no, I don't want to hear, I got to drop on this flexing nigga, he from Tennessee. But at 10 o'clock at night, that sounds amazing to me, right? Like 10 o'clock at night, that's cracking right now. Okay, that is what I want to hear, right? And so I can't, like, there's a specific time of day for me to listen to J Electronica, right? I can't. It ain't when I'm hanging out, kicking back, having a couple drinks. Like that ain't the space and time for me to hear that shit, right? That is sun out music. I listen to that when our sun is out. When the sun goes down, I'm on some other shit. Like, and I don't know, man. I want to get to a space where all the stuff I consume is healthier, right? In terms of the music, I'm trying to do that with the food and shit. But in terms of the music, I'm trying to get to that space. But I just like that shit. I like that ratchet ass shit. I like that Young Jeezy and that early T.I. and that early Gucci shit. Like that does it for me. And so 9 times out of 10, I'm listening to some old Jay-Z or some old Yo Gotti or some T.I. Like that's, unless I'm on my chill shit, then I'm listening to, a plethora of chill artists that I like to listen to. But that tends to be like just a way more relaxed vibe than a rap type thing.
Hey, what'd you think of the character Malcolm in this movie?
I thought he was good, man. I thought he portrayed the role very well. I thought that it allowed us to see, again, Malcolm in some ways that, at least for me, I hadn't really seen before in terms of some of that vulnerability. And so I can remember some scenes where I really sat there like, nah, Malcolm, you ain't wrong. You ain't on point with this shit. You ain't right for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even some of his interactions with Sam Cooke, I was like, you ain't really on point on this thing, right? Even though you coming from a right place, even though I get your end game, it was some moments where I was like, nah, I don't really agree with it. I'm not completely aligned with all of his shit. And so I really enjoyed his character in this movie. I thought it was transcendent of some of the things that we've seen from him before.
Yeah, I felt that way too. I think it showed Malcolm in a different light. It kind of positions him as a shady character in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? And I thought that was an interesting dynamic as well. In regards to the specific actor, I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't a fan of the specific actor. I think he over nerdy Malcolm. I think people forget that Malcolm was a gangster before he became Malcolm.
You heard?
And Malcolm, at least in the vision that I have of Malcolm, not that he wasn't in. I get us from Malcolm. I get intellectual thuggery.
Yeah, I get intellectual thuggery from Malcolm too.
Yeah, I carry it like I'm from really Red Hook.
Speaking of that,
Boston.
right?
What?
Speaking of that, We got intellectual thuggery hoodies that are going to be dropping very, very soon. I don't want to put a date on it because I don't want to mess y'all up. But one day next week, we'll have intellectual thuggery hoodies. We are going to be dropping, so y'all get opportunity to buy those if y'all want. We ain't making a whole bunch of these shits. We got, well, talking about we. First of all, we don't have shit. Two, got a bunch of designs, right? I ain't designed a motherfucking thing, right? But we got a bunch of designs, so we're gonna drop some other ones. But they all gonna be real exclusive. We're only gonna let go of, a certain amount. We've already identified.
Give it no number like that because we want to first see what we get off the presses.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna come with no number like that. But I'm just letting y'all know next week we got some Iswis hoodies that's gonna be dropping. If y'all want to rock with them, y'all can definitely do that. I'm excited about it. I seen them. I fuck with them. They finna be cold. But anyway,
I hope they are, man. I can't wait. Yeah, to the point of that, to that Malcolm character, G. Like I kind of, for me, like Malcolm is like the essential representation of black masculinity. Like he is the epitome of can you whoop my ass though? You know what I mean? And to see him in this role, like the way they shaped him, not that, who could imagine how you would respond when you facing death? Because that was kind of the story they was kind of telling outside of the story. You know what I mean? He looking out the window, he's seeing the FOI security talking to the FBI. He knows some shit is awry. He knows shit is finna go bad. He starts the movie out kind of talking about how Elijah is about to disconnect his ass from the nation or whatever. I don't think so. I still see us as good. At least it look over here is pretty good. But either way,
and we moving? Okay, cool. We good. My bad. Let's roll.
Yeah. Yeah, but they got this little sidebar narrative going where you could tell that, when he's talking to Betty in the beginning, he's like, I got this one last card up my sleeve, which is the shady shit he was doing with Ali. And then it kind of like, it just resonates the level of fear and anxiety that he was dealing in that moment. Like, what the fuck is gonna happen to my life? Even outside of just they might kill me. Motherfucker, my whole livelihood is attached to the nation. I live in a nation's house. I got 3 kids. I got a kid on the way. Shit is fucked up around here if I'm not attached to this paradigm. And and the only way I can stay attached to this paradigm, if I create another access point of value via another man, i.e. Ali. And for me, and I know again, like I said, they took creative license, but to see Malcolm in that kind of role, I don't know, man. I don't like that. I didn't like that part of it. You know what I mean? It bothered me because I got a certain level of esteem for Malcolm. I think there's a level. I think it's important to kind of create a narrative where we keep our heroes in a certain light, because so much of black maleness is always kind of bastardized and deemed as negative. It kind of puts me in a space and place where I don't know how comfortable I was with that character. In the way they portrayed it.
No, I feel you on that piece. And I think that was definitely a part of it. But I think it was intentional, man. I think it was intentional to kind of create, again, just that little bit of texture to the character that we've always known Brother Malcolm X to be, right? And I thought, just a little bit of that vulnerability, I thought it was kind of a cool thing to kind of add into his character. I did find myself in moments like, ooh, I don't really like this type of energy from him. I don't like that type of statement from him. And yeah, it's uncomfortable to hear myself feeling like I am in oppositional thought of Malcolm X, because I tend not to find myself in that space, and so it was definitely a different thing. But I thought it was cool, man. I thought the way that it was done again in a way that didn't necessarily take away from his life and legacy, but just kind of added this other little bit of perspective, not only for who he was as a person, but what he was dealing with, the pressure that had to be mounting on him in those moments. Because even as we went through there, he was fully aware of his impending demise as well, right? He just like we talked about, Dr. King knew that his days were numbered. Malcolm X knew as well, and he even told them that in that room. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I thought it was cool, man. I thought that Regina King displayed a level of brilliance that was very, very nice to see from her. I've always known that she was very, very talented in terms of her acting ability, going all the way back to Friday. I thought she was very, very good. I've always known that she's very, very fine, because she just is very, very fine. But she's absolutely brilliant, and that was on display in One Night in Miami.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It just, again, it was like a lot of nuance in the conversation, and it just made you appreciate all of those characters from different perspectives. The one scene where Malcolm was talking to Jim Brown, and Jim Brown looked over at Malcolm and was like, "Nigga, you ain't got no job." You know
right. No, that's real.
It is, man. But think about that shit. Like, nigga, you don't Malcolm fucking X, right? And he reduced you to the value of a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't got no job. Like, you ain't shit.
Right.
That's just some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit to think about.
But ain't that how we roll, right? Ain't that how you mess with your partners? Like, you just talk shit about them. Like, even though it's a absurd joke to kind of use, it's still a reality, and so you just fuck with them on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you Malcolm X, nigga, you ain't even got no job. Like, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of par for the course with us, man. So it was good to see the level of intimacy between those brothers, man. And I was watching Book of Dawn yesterday, and Don was talking about how Sam Cooke was from Chicago and from the Cabrini Green, and you saw that Chicago shit come out of him when they was signifying and going back and forth. Like, he was dead ass on some of his Chicago shit, and just some of the lingo that he used and the way that he delivered, it was like, yeah, that's the go for real. That's the crib coming out of dude. Like, so dude had to do some studying on Sam Cooke and on the crib, because that definitely came out in some of those exchanges.
You know, that's crazy. I didn't even know Sam Cooke was from Chicago, dude. That's news to me. You know what I mean? But when you say that, it does resonate, right? His audaciousness, his gumption. Because in truth, right? He was looking at Malcolm like, nigga, I'm Sam Cooke. You know?
Fuck you, fam. Like, period. Like, he don't care, right? So he like, I be fucking with the Beatles, and I be fucking with the Rolling Stones, and I sold them the rights to sample this song, and so what? He was like, before that song came out, I think we had done it, and it was that, like, you know, number 94 or something. Then I let them do it. It went to number 1. Like, this is, you know, the difference between being number 94, number 91 is like 93 spots. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a huge difference. Like, them checks is coming in. So, like, man, he was hella Chicago, man. It was good to see him in that light too, because he's not a brother that I personally know a lot about. I haven't studied him all that much, and so other than a couple of songs of his that I like, I didn't know a whole lot about Sam Cooke, and so that was cool to get a little bit of a peek behind that curtain as well.
Yeah, man, I thought that was super dope, man. So it was a great film to watch with your family. If you got kids, it'd be a great introduction to some of who those characters were. Jim Brown is the last one of them still alive. That's the only one of them that's still alive.
Yeah.
Damn, you know. And I know, you know, Sam Cooke died tragically, Malcolm died tragically. You know, Ali lived a long life, but he had a very interesting story, to say the least. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in a lot of ways you could say tragic, but you know, it's also what makes Ali the GOAT of sports, in my opinion, too. His story makes him the GOAT. His gumption and the way he stand on his belief system makes him to go to all sports, in my opinion. You know, there's a conversation taking place in the comments where Salim says, in reality, Malcolm had fallen out of favor with the NOI, and he was trying to parlay his relationship with the champ. Double says, that's why I was asking, would him and Muhammad Ali get close? He was using Muhammad Ali, if we can tell the truth. You know, and I think and again, this is the outside looking in, and even outside of looking in, outside of just the storyline of this movie, I thought he had a genuine love for Muhammad Ali. At least that's how it's captured in photographs and in stories. Mm-hmm. But it is an interesting paradigm. You know, when you think about the nation and its growth and its inception in general, I think before Malcolm, I think Elijah had like 3 mosques maybe nationwide. Don't quote me on that, but I think after Malcolm, I think it went from like 3 to 44. And there's always this kind of running narrative that there was this underlying level of, I don't know if it's jealousy or at least concern about Malcolm's natural character.
Yeah, he had a level of charisma that commanded people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if Elijah, you know, had that underlying in real life, but that's definitely a story that's told. And you know, and I got a different opinion, right? But I got a different opinion based on like my understanding of Elijah. But I also see how that could play out in like a popularized idea, you know.
Yeah, but
very similar. to Farrakhan because they opened that movie too talking about Farrakhan.
Mhm.
Betty's like, his brother Lewis gonna go with you? And he was like, man, no, Lewis ain't fucking with me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, but that's a real thing though. When you have that level of charisma, and it's a natural thing, right? It's a natural level of charisma that Malcolm X had that served him well as Malcolm X, same as it served him well as Red out in the streets, right? That level of charisma, it was natural for him. And other people who do not have that natural level of charisma, if they aren't really, really secure in themselves, it's easy for them to feel threatened by that. And they will feel threatened by that regardless of anything that you've ever done. And so I have this big personality and this level of charisma that I've always just kind of had. But in certain situations, it's been seen as threatening to other people, right? And it's like, and it doesn't matter your level of commitment to the common goal here. So it doesn't matter that Malcolm X, whatever his level of commitment to the nation would have been, didn't matter, right? It was that I'm threatened by the very fact that he has this kind of charisma that could cause this many people to follow him and potentially create some dissension up in here or some question to my status within the pre-constructed system that we have here. And so when you have that, then people kind of put you in this space of a threat. And then they start to act on it, and then that thing kind of snowballs, and before you know it, you got two, opposing fractions about something that didn't really have to take place. And I think that was a part of it. And, I don't know, right? I don't know that had they not viewed him as a threat that way, would he not have actually ultimately been a threat to them? I don't know. But what I'm saying is, even if he was completely committed and loyal to them, his level of charisma and his magnetism was viewed as threatening to them, right? It was viewed as threatening to what they were building, and you got to go. You got too big for your britches. You have to go. Sucks, but I think that's the truth.
And there's another level to that too. There's a hierarchy at play. You know what I mean? We got to be, at the end of the day, Elijah is Elijah. So when Elijah tells you, shut the fuck up about JFK, regardless of you being Malcolm, there's a difference between the prince and the king. You know what I mean? There's a difference. Right. So, I get it. Now, again, this is all, hypothetical. I don't really have any real true context. I know there's these underlying stories that always kind of loom under the surface, but they always kind of present that narrative that, Elijah kind of had this level of jealousy or fear that, Malcolm was impeding on his level of power or whatever, but I just thought that was the whole dynamic of them being in that room and how you specifically view Malcolm and King, right? Malcolm and King are the preeminent Black civil rights leaders of all of history, right? In regards to like American soil, although we had a lot of prominent, powerful Black people that, led movements, none of them supersede Malcolm and King. You know what I mean? They just don't. So when you see Malcolm in the light in a room with just his homies and them talking to him like, nigga, you ain't got no job. And get your light yellow ass, it's right. Seeing that energy, it humanizes them in a way. You know what I mean? Which is beautiful and daunting all at the same time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's beautiful and daunting all at the same time. But all in all, man, I would suggest it. If you can, man, everybody should go check it out. I also employ everybody to go check out American Skin.
So I'm gonna watch American Skin. Where is that available at?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay, cool.
You gotta pay for it. You gotta pay for it, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I watched the other one last night, so I'll watch that one tonight or something. But I think when you talk about, it's beautiful but it's daunting, that pretty much sums up the Black experience in America, right? It's beautiful but it's daunting, right? They got it's a meme that go around that's been going around now. Say, man, being Black is dangerous but it's lit. You know what I'm saying? Like for all of the daunting tasks that come along with it, for all the obstacles that are placed in our way before we even arrive here, like for all of that, it's still the dopest shit ever. I still wouldn't want to be nothing else, right? I still wouldn't trade places with some white dude at the top of some like this Black shit is cracking. Like I love it. Now, obviously that's having experienced it for 34 years, but I feel differently from whatever. But it's so dope, and it's so beautiful that even with everything else that comes along with it, I would choose this. You know what I'm saying? I would choose this even with everything that comes along with it. Even with all the challenges that are inherent in such a situation, I would choose this over something else. And I think that's just kind of the reality of our situation, right? For all of the dopeness that we are, for all of the magic that we have flowing through us, for all of the powers and abilities that we have, like, again, to whom much is given, much is expected and tested for us, right? And so we've been tested, and, to our credit, we've survived, if not passed, all of those tests to this point. Now, how do we get ourselves to a space to where we can organize, mobilize, and then implement things that are to our benefit? I think one window just closed on us in November. You say another one just opened on us last week. How do we then position ourselves to be able to take advantage of that over the course of the next 4 years and beyond? Sir, you take the last word, and we got to bounce.
Man, more importantly than taking the position for the next 4 years and beyond, the next 100 days is imperative. So, and how do we do that? Like I said earlier, we text, we tweet, we write, we get in tune with every elected official we can. And like I said, be audacious. And I'm being so serious. Ask for free college in perpetuity. Ask for it all right now. Right? And all we really want to do is to push our legislators to move closer to the conversation of reparations. Other than that, man, have fun telling Herb how wrong he was today. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow.
Fuck out of here, man. Listen, man.
Am I allowed in the studio tomorrow?
Yeah, you back here with us in the studio tomorrow.
This ain't comfortable to me.
Yeah, this is weird. It's awkward, man. We dealt with it yesterday. Today was much smoother. It was all good. No thanks to Lil Ron, but he did happen to be here. So shout out to Lil Ron, the production studio, getting things done on that side of things. We will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, 3 p.m. 2 will be back in the studio. We will be doing our thing per usual. Thank y'all so very, very much for tuning in. Whether you tuned in on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you watched it from, whether you come back and watch it later, we appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all make sure y'all get up early for the Ruthie Moore Show. Stick around for the rest of the content. We'll be back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Until then, y'all be good to each other. Peace.
WIFTBPM